Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBox TV's podcast 238. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, along with Johnny V. Right on Johnny V time.
Right on Johnny V time tonight. Had a couple weird issue at the very end of the time here, just for something strange. The Wi-Fi started kind of freaking out, and it's still acting a little funny right now, but it looks like, for the most part, we have everything running.
Well, it looks like there's 400,000? Yeah, 400,000 viewing. So, well, there should be. We're going to have a really great night here tonight. We got a lot of information to give to you guys, and we're going to start off with something very exciting in just a few moments. We're going to first start. We're going to have Hannah and Dustin. They're going to be joining us. We're going to announce live here on air. They're going to give us the winners for the junior grant program that we talked about a few episodes ago that people could apply for, and we'll have them further explain some of the details and what it all means. But Eagles Wings Junior Grant Program announcement and winner is going to be revealed in just a few minutes. We're also then going to have Dynamite. He stood down for a few moments so we could get right to the winners. And then after that, it sounds like we may have an opportunity to learn a little bit more about Foundation Disc Golf. You guys have seen some posts, maybe a new video as of today. We're going to learn more about who they are, what they're doing, and one of the three founders will join us along with some other guy some of us have heard of, is that Paul McBeth fella. Mm-hmm. Somehow he's involved. He's got his hands in every cookie jar in disc golf. All right, well, without further ado, we're going to move over to Eagles Wings Junior Grant Program and the winners announced right here on Smashbox. Dustin, Hannah, how we doing tonight?
Good.
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Super exciting to have you guys back. Before the last time we had you, I should say, is you guys were just about to travel across the globe to complete yet another mission, and then I think you left one of our Schultz family members behind, Esther, and it sounds like everything's going really well over there, Zambia, and everything that's taking place. We'll get to that in a moment, but you guys described and talked about the junior grant program again, and now you have 6 winners. Tell us how that selection process ultimately happened before you give us their names.
Yeah, that sounds good. So this year we also partnered with Kids Disc Golf. So it's the Kids Disc Golf and Eagles Wings grant. So they've been an awesome partner. They've allowed us to do it better. They're really good with connecting with the junior families and promotion and things like that. And also Nate Doss has been and Val have been a huge part of it. So we partnered with them on the grant. And basically we had 7 judges from across the country that then judged everything blindly. So they didn't know the names. We sent them the forms. All the kids had to fill out 200 words or less of why they deserved it. They talked about a project they would complete in disc golf. And we had over 50 applications, which is awesome because, we're only pulling from people that would go to either Junior Worlds or US JDC. So a little bit of smaller pool, but we're really happy to have over 50 applicants. And it was really difficult. I know our judges, had voted for a lot of different kids and felt like, all of them were disappointed that they couldn't push some people through. Hannah and I know some really awesome juniors that we would have loved to see win, but we kind of take ourselves out of the judging process. We're really excited about the ones that we do have. They're representing across the country. We've got a couple girls, a couple guys, and I think it'll be a really good list of winners this year.
Well, and that's awesome. And now I can't imagine how difficult that is to read these essays and probably a lot of compelling stories. A lot of very deserving people, and like you said, we ultimately have 6 winners to announce. What were some of the most specific things that you guys feel like the judges were all looking for in ultimately the selection?
Yeah, I think we assume that most of the people that are applying, are talented disc golfers, and we ask for their goals in disc golf. And all of them, looking to do well at Junior Worlds, raise their rating, things of that nature. So really what we are looking for is kids that understand the bigger concept of kind of giving back to the disc golf community, being part of that community, making it more than just about their own journey, their own talent. So we had, the project is a big part of it. And then we also do references. So all the kids selected a reference from their area. We had some touring pros. I think Avery was a reference. Zach Melton I saw in there a couple times, and Andrew Fish was a reference. Some of the big promoters in disc golf or PDGA state coordinators were references. So what they say about the kids, has a big impact. And then also just, more about their project and how they want to get involved and give back are some of the biggest factors in who gets selected.
Awesome. Well, now how many years running has this been?
This is our third year. Probably the biggest year in terms of what we're giving away and sponsors. And again, just having, partners in it. I think, we're looking to meet with Kids Disc Golf in the next week or so and just start talking about next year and how we can make it bigger and better. Those guys are really creative and just all in on Kids Disc Golf. So we think we'll be able to do it even bigger, better year 4.
Awesome. Well, it might be past some of these kids' bedtime depending on where they are, and I'm guessing a whole bunch of them and or their parents or possibly even their references are tuned in. So welcome everyone. Thank you guys for joining us, and we're ready to hear them. You got any stories or individual, or are you just going to name off 6 names, or what do you got for us?
All right, we're going to list them off. Hannah's going to read them, and we just got the list, and we didn't want to spoil a surprise, so we don't know how to say all the names exactly. Some of them are a little bit challenging. So she's going to do her best, and we'll let you know who won and where they're from.
Well, that might be a little spoiler. Maybe some of these names aren't so easy. So if you have a challenging last name,
get perked up.
Sit up and listen.
Okay. Alrighty. So first we have Carver Whitford from Kelowna, British Columbia. Next we have Allison Menchaca from Modesto, California. And we have Chase Luster from Calico Rock, Arizona. And we have Lily Marr from Frederick, Maryland. And we have Kailesh Sanjaivi from Nelson, British Columbia. And this last one is from my home state. I think the first one from Maine, Miles Sayer from Gray, Maine.
Wow. I didn't know you were from Maine. But awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Okay. So if you could just real quickly repeat those, at least the first names, rattle through them.
All right. We have Carver Whitford, Allison Menchaca, Chase Luster, Lily Marr, Kailesh Sanjaivi, and Miles Sayer.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. Clearly, it sounds like it was a well-deserved win and grant that was awarded. So congratulations to all of those competitors. Now, what do you have to say? Again, you had over 50 applicants. What do you have to say to those who may not have gotten pushed all the way through to the final awards? Will they be eligible for future awards, and those types of things?
Yeah, so everybody is welcome to apply next year. We don't award the grant twice to anybody, so that's been our policy to this point. But all past applicants are welcome to apply again, and we'd encourage it. Again, we're hoping to give away more grants next year, and maybe even start breaking down some ages or things along those lines. So definitely stay tuned. We'll keep you updated via email. And also UDisc and Disc Golf Instruction has a coupon for everybody. So we'll email that out tomorrow to all the applicants. They wanted to give something to anybody that applied. So our hope is to, or we just want to encourage them that, even though you didn't win, certainly almost everybody had some type of consideration. And I read through a lot of the applications as they came in, and just fantastic job. We want to encourage you to continue to do what you're doing. And, there's certainly disc golf companies out there. And as Kids Disc Golf grows and provides more opportunities, I think there'll be more and more opportunities to reward those efforts. So, we just want to encourage everybody. And that's probably the hardest part about doing the grant, not giving something to everybody. But yeah, definitely apply next year. And just stay tuned to what Kids Disc Golf is doing, what Eagles Wings is doing, and any way we can help out juniors, we want to do that.
All right. Well, I know that these grants are only made possible by a ton of different organizations, individuals, and companies that have jumped on board and want to support the effort and the mission. We know Nate Doss, when coming in, he had a large impact, but he's one of many. So do you have a list of your sponsors and/or contributors that help make this grant possible?
Yeah, I'll rattle those off real quick. So again, Nate and Val give a ton. They bring in Discraft and Keen with them. So just tremendous help. Allows us to provide some of the financial support in addition to paying for entry fee. Kids Disc Golf, a partner, and also gives away one of their memberships to each of the winners. Avery Jenkins gives away a really cool disc. Dynamic is creating a individual disc or a disc for all the junior grant winners that we will sell, and proceeds will also help the grant winners. Innova gives one of their VIP cards to each of the winners. And Whale Pants has a disc for everybody. So Eric and Tina have been on board for a couple years now. They'll get a Disc Baron gift card. Paragon will make them a really cool custom jersey. UDisc hooks them up with their pro app and a couple other things. Upper Park will give them one of the pinch bags, and DGI is giving them a free lesson, and then also 50% off to all the applicants. And then, of course, Smashbox allows us to come on and share this, which we greatly appreciate.
Always, for sure.
I feel inadequate after everything else
I
everybody
know.
gives.
we're simply here to give a little mouthpiece, but
we are excited to do so.
happy.
You guys are always welcome. You're always pushing good stuff, and that's what we love to see and hear and spread the word. So all the applicants have this is the very first announcement. This is what we call a Smashbox exclusive, right? Nobody's been notified until right now?
Smashbox exclusive. Me and Hannah and Matt Graham from Kids Disc Golf are the only people that know besides their judges.
Awesome. Well, hopefully, like I said, if they're up or their parents are up or someone's watching, these kids are notified and very excited about what just went down. And again, we're glad to help provide a little bit of the exposure for it. Anything else you guys want to share? I know we touched briefly on Zambia. You left Esther Schultz. She's behind. You didn't leave her, but I mean,
Bye,
it wasn't It wasn't Home Alone
scenario.
But you guys are back. Overall, can you give us a quick recap of the mission and the effort?
Yeah, you want to do that?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great trip to Zambia. We, I guess many of you may have followed it on social media. We tried to keep things updated as possible. But yeah, so we ended up being able to build that second 9 holes. It was pretty rough jungle out there, so we pretty much just hacked our way through and built these fairways without really having seen them or have any idea of what it was going to look like ahead of time. But so we just chopped through this jungle and built those holes, and the course turned out actually really nice, and it's a really fun course. We got all 18 in time for the tournaments. We ran the kids tournament, then a glow tournament, and then the Zambia Open to finish out the time there. So wow. It took all of our time to get that course in time, but we made it happen. And so yeah, it was exciting. We were pretty pumped that we got it done in time, and the tournaments were just a great success. Everyone seemed to have a really good time, and there was tons of people out just spectating, volunteering for the day. The whole community kind of got behind the tournament, which was cool. So
that is awesome. Well, very cool. And I know just before the show started, we had also said Esther's going to be there until for about another month, mid-April or just before GBO. Yeah. And we're, if you're not following her, you should. We see it. Her posting a lot to Instagram stories, and then ultimately to Facebook. So if you want to follow along and support everything else she's there continuing to do, you can certainly find her in those social media outlets. Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to cut you guys loose unless you have anything else to share, as if that wasn't big enough news tonight. Anything else?
Yeah, no, we could talk for more, but no, you got a lot of stuff to get to. So we appreciate you letting us come on, and look forward to sharing with you guys future stuff.
All right. Well, looking forward to it. I think we're going to see you guys at the GBO sometime at the end of next month. And I know you guys will continue to do great things. Keep up all the amazing work you're doing, and we'll keep helping spread the word whenever we can. We appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks
have
a
a good
lot.
night, guys.
All right. See ya.
Thank you. All right. As we said, Hannah and Dustin.
As we always say, 2 of the best people in our sport.
Yeah, they're doing great things, and make sure if you go find Eagles Wings and support what they're doing, If you have any questions or you want to reach out in any way, or maybe you want to contribute to what they're doing for the grant program that they're going to be doing annually, and hopefully that continues to grow and expand. Go out and do just that. All right.
Yeah.
Glasses cleaned off. I know. Weird to even be wearing them.
I know everyone's asking, who are you? I'm just telling everyone you're Terry's smarter twin.
That sounds good. I'll take it.
He'll
take it.
He'll
take it.
We'll see.
Disc Baron, thank you. As mentioned earlier, Disc Baron supporting that program, and then also Disc Baron, a huge supporter of us and of the Disc Golf Guy videos.
Thank you.
Thank you for the super chat here tonight. If Disc Baron, I don't know if that was your way of throwing down a competition with others to see if anyone else wants to super chat you. I'm just saying I'm throwing out ideas here. So, all right. I think we can get to Dynamite, who has graciously said, I'll stand down for the first 15 minutes. I'm not sure he's going to be able to bring quite the heat that Eagles Wings did. Maybe he's giving away more stuff. What do we got from Dynamite? Hey, buddy.
Nothing free here.
Hold on,
not giving
there, Dana.
anything away.
All right, Dana. Hang on just a moment. Johnny's got a button to click, thing to press, and maybe a graphic.
Yeah, that would be a wah. Because I think, Dana, go ahead and talk.
Hello.
Everybody can hear Dana but us.
Wow, this should be a great interview then. A great night. If everyone can hear him but us, I think we're in business. I think we should. Why haven't we been doing this all along?
That's a valid question.
All right, we're gonna see if Johnny can possibly get it so that we can.
I bet you. I just need to do this.
You're a little Dynamite.
Oh no, that's already done.
Hello.
Yeah, well, hanging up with him and coming back help? Probably not.
No, it won't.
Well, I'm assuming there's something we could do to get him. There's a button you've got to be able to press.
I'm trying.
Don't make me start pressing him.
I'm trying to think here. That would go through there. I'm guessing that this has
Chris, thank you for the super chat. I can mention that at the moment. We appreciate it. Chris trying to outdo Disc Baron.
Here. That's where that has to go.
So they let you switch the Disc Golf Pro Tour show, huh? Okay.
They did. Hold on one second, Dana. We'll be right back with Dana. All right, now we just need Dana to come back. Dana, can you talk?
I can. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Can the world?
Everybody can hear you.
All right. Well, with that, Johnny and his magic button clicking has brought Dynamite Danavici back to life. Buddy, pal, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. It's a little late, but as you said, I was glad to stand down for the Eagles Wings gang. They're doing good things, and I need to get involved with some of that kids disc golf stuff. That is for sure. I have kind of been quiet on the grassroots stuff, disc golf stuff lately. It's hard when you work in the business to keep up with all the other stuff that you used to do for disc golf, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. And it's funny because, and I'll talk about this way later in the show, but even I think about all the great supporters, and that's of Smashbox and of the Disc Golf Guy video blogs. And then I think about, oh my gosh, I'm running a B tier or assisting in running a B tier in a month. And I desperately need sponsors for that tournament. And that's just a role that A, is one of the toughest roles, is to go out and get tournament sponsorship. And B, it almost feels weird because it's similar but yet very different, because that's going to be benefiting all of these people at this event in the next month. And so I know exactly what you mean by kind of switching gears. When you're in the industry, you're so dialed and you're so focused on certain things that some of these other items can, I don't know, take a back seat. So yeah, so give away more stuff to kids disc golf and Eagles Wings. That's what you should do.
Yeah. But we're not here to listen to me talk about my life, or maybe we are.
Yeah,
but
sure.
let's look at some events from this last weekend. We're between Pro Tour events. There weren't any A tiers, which is I'd say that's going to be an That's not going to be the norm for between Pro Tour events and all that. Usually they're sandwiched. They've got A tiers or national tours in between. But this weekend there was a bunch of B tiers, 2 of which were in Texas. And we saw touring pros had to both of those at the 17th annual Crush on the Concho. 223 total players. This was a B tier event, and it was ran by Thomas and Melissa Veal. I'm guessing that's a husband and wife combination, maybe brother and sister. But anyways, 29 total open players. Yeah. 29 total open players, and we saw Kevin Jones come out on top with his first victory on the year, his first win throwing Prodigy discs, and he did it in pretty he did pretty good, let's say. He went 1030, 1079, 1064 to beat Emerson Keith by, I think, 4 throws. And Emerson Keith, his biggest news of he had some big news drop this last weekend or these last few days. Looks like he's got a baby on the way. Did you guys catch his gender
video reveal?
The gender reveal video. Thank you, Johnny.
Yeah, we did. He putted a disc, what looked like, into a basket that had a balloon, and it exploded with color.
Yeah. Now, I saw the headline, and I have to clarify. Was the photo and the color kind of right there in that headline photo? I mean, was the gender reveal color in that headline photo or not? I feel like it was. I'm going to go look for it. I feel like that's a silly spoiler if so. Well, maybe it wasn't. I vaguely remember I saw the photo, I saw the headline, and I was thinking that I saw a color, and I thought, well, they shouldn't show the color in the thumbnail. That's no fun.
Correct, because then it takes away all the anticipation.
Yeah. Well, congratulations
to Emerson.
Yeah, to Emerson. Is he still going to play like 79 tournaments next year?
Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to go down a few from like 80 or 90 to somewhere in the 70s.
I mean, there's a birthday on, around one of those weekends, probably an actual birth.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
I'm sure he'll. Yeah, definitely.
For Wednesday.
So you can get back out there and play two or three two B tiers and a flex start at C tier on Friday.
That's right. Now you're picking up what I'm putting down there, buddy.
Oh yeah. But Emerson Keith, man, he's good. He is really he's good at disc golf, and hopefully maybe he'll get that Steve Brinster boost where he had babies and then won a major title, or hopefully he doesn't do what I did and let his rating kind of go the wrong direction. But congratulations to him. He played really good disc golf. Lost by 4 to Kevin Jones. Jeremy Colling played some pretty good disc golf. Finished in 3rd, and then rounding out the top 6 we'll go to just because they're big names was Reed Frescura, Double G, Garrett Gerthy, and James Conrad. On the women's side, 7 players. Ellen Widboom, darn it, I need to work on my last names, but Ellen, Ellen won. She played under her rating, but it was good enough to win by 2 throws over Lauren Butler.
It's Butler.
Yeah, you really butchered that name.
Also in Texas, the 21st annual Red Rock Show, which was driven by Innova, and 32 total open players. We didn't see quite the star-studded field that we saw at the Crush, but there were some good players. But holding it down for the state of Texas was Marshall Blanks, and he did so shooting some tremendous disc golf. 1042, 1075, 1038. Yes, I said 1042, 1075, 1038. Marshall is 989 rated. I believe this is his third win of the year, and he did it over some pretty good competition. Chandler Fry finished 6 throws behind him at a 5 under par, and then right behind Chandler was Alex Russell. We also saw Coda Hatfield, Bradley Williams, AJ Carey have solid top 10 finishes there at that event. On the women's side, 10 total players. So quite a few FPO players down there in Texas. And winning was Valerie. Terry, you're going to have to help me with her last name.
Mundahano? I didn't check those stats, but I'm guessing that's who you're hung up on.
Yeah, that's who I'm talking about. She did it by beating Stephanie Vincent by a stick, and she basically that first round shot a 59, which was 949 to Stephanie's 63, 912, and then she kind of just hung on tight for the victory there. So congratulations to her. Stephanie Vincent in second. Valerie's sister, Alexis, finished in third. So congratulations to all the winners in Texas this last weekend. I'm going to jump over to the East Coast now. And
Dana, well, okay,
yeah.
Go ahead. I have a question for you, but you may answer it here. So go ahead. As you're moving.
Yeah, I mean, if you were going to ask me if Chris Dickerson won another tournament, I was going to say yes. And he won it by 10 throws. He did it by 10 throws. Really good. He's really good at disc golf. He beat Dan Hastings, who's been playing really well, having a solid year. Dan Hastings, by the way, up to 1015 rated.
Don't mind that. Dan Hastings just received a national award for being one of the top 0.002% of teachers in the country. So. 1015 is a great golfer, but
he's like a 1080 teacher.
Yeah, at least a 1080, maybe 1090 rated teacher. So congratulations to Dan on that front as well. I was not creeping his personal Facebook page recently. I'm just letting you know he was one of the top teachers in the year.
Anyways, but Chris Dickerson, if you follow me on Disc Golf at Dana Disc Golf, I just tweeted this before the show, but he's got a staggering 101 wins out of 197 events. That's really good.
Keeping north of that 50% line that I brought up a few weeks ago.
Yep. I was thinking about that conversation and those stats you were spitting out, and I had to take a look for myself here when I saw him taking down another victory. But so Chris, looking ahead at his schedule, he's going to be in Florida for it looks like 3 weeks. So we're going to see him against some elite competition at the Sun Kings Throwdown the Mountain. Then he'll be at Ron Russell's Jacksonville Open, and then the Tallahassee, the Open at Tallahassee, before we see him head up to Jonesboro and GBO. So pretty big stretch of events here. He's gonna see some elite players in Florida, and then obviously at the Disc Golf Pro Tour. So we'll see if he comes out of GBO with his 50+% win rate in PDGA events. Any chance
someone
that
had
happens?
asked about him playing B or C tiers or whatever. Chris is very much. He fills in the gaps. I mean, he plays, the large events that are regional. He'll obviously play in any of those if there's not a lot of travel involved. And now he's starting to spread that even further. But then every weekend in between, he will definitely fill that in, usually with a B tier. If it has to be a C tier, I think he'll do that as well. But he'll fill in so that he can compete pretty much every single weekend.
Yeah, and I see nothing wrong with that. He's found his what works for him, and we're seeing him play in big events and also play in these big regional events, and we've seen him dominate in both. So kudos to him, and it's sure fun to watch, and just once we see him at these big events, that's just another contender. It's gonna I know that Eagle and Simon ultimately kind of pulled away at Memorial, but there are so many people in the mix there at Vegas. I really think that the Vegas, how that was going, that's how these big events are going to be. And with Chris Dickerson at him, there's no doubt that he's going to be sniffing a victory there at one of these big ones.
Well, and Dana, so what I was going to ask is, you're looking at various results. It was great to see, our two-time world champion Barry Schultz out back on the West Coast, being at the Memorial, being at Vegas, and knowing that Texas obviously is taking on, a lot of big events over the next month or so, and some people are filtering back to the East Coast or wherever else they're from. That was really my next question: is did we see Barry Schultz anywhere this last weekend? And I'll admit, I didn't click on anything. I could have done the research, but did we see him competing anywhere? Wondering if because I feel like that would really give us some insight. Is he going to stay out on the road a little longer? Is he slowly making his way back, or did he get back and maybe even just take the weekend off? Knowing that he can be competing in the Open or in the Masters division at any given event.
Yeah, well, it looks like he did in fact take the weekend off. I'm not seeing anything coming up on his name under his results. Looking forward for Barry Schultz, who's currently 1027 rated, 232 career wins out of 537 events. But he's going to be down in Florida. He's playing Throwdown the Mountain. He's playing the Open at Tallahassee before he heads up to Huck Central. And Terry, we are going to see Barry back in Wisconsin this year.
I think I've heard such rumors.
He is signed up. He's signed up for the Mad City Open, which is, and it's not until August.
That's my birthday weekend, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, probably, or the 2nd or the 3rd and 4th.
3rd and 4th.
August,
yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So that is an A tier, and for those of you that are newer, Barry Schultz is from Wisconsin. He currently lives in the Carolinas, and has done so. It's probably, I don't know, 7-8 years. I'm assuming if not, maybe
2011 was when he made the move. He won. Funny story. He won the Greater Milwaukee Open that I was running. He collected his check. He went out to his moving truck where he had most of his life packed up. Sold a few more discs out of there to people that were just standing at the end of this big box moving truck. And he packed up and drove off into the sunset, leaving Cheeseland forever. Well, at least for now. So that's what he was doing when he moved out. I want to say that was 2011 Greater Milwaukee Open was
Sounds
when that
about right.
happened. So, and I know I was kind of in my early vlog beginnings. I want to say it was right around then. So it will be great to have him back in the state. And unfortunately, I'm going to miss him that particular weekend. I believe the U.S. Junior Championships is taking place out on the East Coast, and then also the Rocky Mountain Women's Disc Golf Championships, of which my daughters will be traveling with me too. So excited to head back out there for that event yet again. But nonetheless, we've got a lot of great options of disc golf going on throughout the entire year, that being one of the weekends.
For sure. Yeah, so it's good to see Barry. It'll be good to see him back in the Midwest, and also at Throwdown the Mountain. That's not that he can't win anywhere, but that's a course where you would expect Barry, his style of play, which is just throwing pure lines to succeed. You got to throw straight there and keep it on the fairway, and that's right up Barry's alley. Right up Matty O's alley is shooting some fire rounds. Matt Orum, I'm talking about. We're jumping down to New Orleans, or Louisiana, excuse me, for the 2019 Pot of Gold powered by Prodigy. And this is always a pretty big event. 192 total players. It was a B tier. And Matty O just came out and stomped the competition round one. 41, 1077 rated. The next best was a David Wiggins Jr. at a 44. David was not able to hang on with Matty. nobody was. So Maddie took the win pretty easily, $800, not too bad. Former Wisconsinite Lindsay Fish won on the women's side. But Matty O, we're about to see him. He is signed up for Waco, and then he'll be heading back to Alabama for the City of Mobile Championships before hopping down to Florida for the last couple legs of that 3-week tour. But Matty O, he's another elite name that could definitely win. He's one of those people. I think Kale and I were talking a few weeks ago, and we decided I think he said Matty, he's just one of those people where like he could go out and legitimately pop a 1100 rated round or at any time. He's just super electric. He's got great forehand, backhand, and when his putt is on, he had lost his putt for a few years there, but if you look at his stats from last year, he was definitely making his putts last year, and so far this year with a couple wins and then winning this weekend, one has to imagine that his putt is on, and when his putt's on and when Matty's happy, whew, he's a gamer.
Yeah, and like you were kind of getting at, he's one of those sleepers that he's obviously always been really good. He's gone through a few ups and downs, but he's dabbled in touring, or he's been out on tour extensively, but then it gets shortened, or he doesn't continue it out there, and then he comes home and then he dominates in that area down in the Mobile area. We see him, Cameron Colglazer, kind of almost in a similar sense. Cameron with different obligations, in family life and starting a detailing business. But when they go out and they venture out, and whether if it's for 2 weeks or 2 months, they're always a force to be reckoned with. And that's awesome to see. It's funny because I grew up with the Matty O's, out there playing really well, always finishing in the top 10 at Worlds. There was even a wager at one point on that about him finishing for sure, whether you saw him at 10 events or 2 events during the year, he was always going to finish in the top 10 at the World Championships. So those are one of those names that if you're a little bit more old school, you know Matty O, and that's just him, and that's what you've grown to expect. If you haven't, well, get ready, because then when you see him, you're going to be saying, who's this guy? And what is he doing? So I'm excited to see him out there in the next few weeks. We may not see him too much in Mobile. I know he's had a few struggles here and there, and he shared them on Facebook not too long ago, and he said he's going to venture away from his home area of Mobile and may or may not find himself back there anytime soon. Again, I know he's going through some stuff that he's put out there publicly, but that was one of the last posts I've seen from him, and so maybe that may be a drive or a push to have him get out on that tour and experience a little bit more of that tour life. So it'll be, and for those that don't know, he used to tour quite extensively with our current world champion Greg Barsby. Those two, you really, for a while, if you saw one, the other one was right there with them on tour.
I kind of feel like that's when Matty O picked up his style. He didn't seem to have that sort of swagger until he started hanging out with Barsby a little bit, and I don't know if that's just the fact that he became a little bit more visible then, or if a little bit of Barsby rubbed off on him, but they were a fun duo.
Yeah, roll Tide. I think Matty would make me say that right now. I think he has to throw one of those in there every so many minutes. There's like a quota requirement out there that every so many minutes or so many words you have to throw in roll Tide somewhere. Should be fun to see.
Yeah.
Throw Down the Mountain will be a great testament to all of that.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun to watch and take in. A lot of big names, and I am excited because it's a fun course to play and to watch on video. But that's about all I really saw from this last weekend. I'm looking forward to this Pro Tour action coming up here this next weekend. As I said, we got Matty O hopping out there. We got all the big names that have been out there. We still got Seppo in the States, and what's Vino, Michaela. who's also traveling with Seppo, I believe, prodigy player, one of Europe's best players. He's still in the States, so maybe a few weeks of warm weather play, we'll see him rising to the top, because he sure does seem to have elite level talent. But I think the big question too is how is the Disc Golf Pro Tour gonna bounce back media wise from their opening weekend at the Memorial?
I have a little bit of insight in that because
What?
I do. What? I kind of feel like this is officially the Pro Tour's, I'm not going to say sink or swim moment. This almost feels like them jumping out of the nest to me, because this is the first event that neither Terry nor I will be involved in at all. I am not doing the switching for this like I was for the Memorial. I will be on vacation somewhere in, I don't know, the Bahamas or on a cruise ship. So I was not able to fulfill that role. So I've taken all the stuff and sent it to a gentleman out in California who will be doing all of that. I talked to him last night, and Wade Ferrari, who's kind of the new Disc Golf Pro Tour, he's kind of their media director, it seems like, at this point. And I kind of just filled him in on some of the workflow that we do in order to make the transition a little more smooth for them, and how the booth works, and maybe how some of the graphics work and things like that. So he seems very knowledgeable. He uses a slightly different system than I do, so I'm really hoping that we can see something new, something cool that I can look at and maybe steal. But he sounded very, very knowledgeable. I'm excited to see some of the results from that. So I think Friday morning will be my best chance, as we're on a bus on our way to the boat. So I'm really excited to see what happens this weekend.
My question, and I think probably the question on everybody's mind, is Gary O going to be flying out to California to help him out?
No, this is actually going to be really interesting because we have Jomez covering one of the cards at Waco, part of
Chase card.
The Chase card. They are on MPO2 as we speak of it. And so I believe the Disc Golf Pro Tour is not going to be having any of their live cameras on the Chase card. And instead, my guess is that they're going to go to a roaming camera in case anyone gets hot. So they could jump on the second card if someone on the second card is lighting it up, or they could jump on the third card with a camera. So I'm not sure how much of that, one of the things that everybody loved about the Memorial was being able to bring in some of the other cards, because I had Gary O next to me pulling in all of this information and feeding it to me. I don't know what their workflow is going to be like for that. They might have that. They might not. That is above my pay grade. I've handed off a good portion of my knowledge to this gentleman, and I said, "Fly, baby bird," and we're going to see if they can. And I'm really hoping they do. It'd be really cool to see somebody else in this space as well.
I will add to that briefly. Sorry, as I'm responding to a few notes on the board here. So I reached out to Steve Dodge a little earlier. I asked if he had anything, official words or statement he wanted to share with us as we move into this weekend. And I would assume he wrote this to be read again, like I did last week.
If not, he's not learning his lesson.
Yeah, that's true. He said earlier tonight, "We know we made errors. We are working hard to improve. We are going to be focusing on MPO1 and FPO1 for Waco and work on the process. We don't have any false hopes for unbridled success and will continue to do our best. Additionally, Jomez will be here covering MPO2, and we're excited to work with them again." So that's what he then he went on to talk a little bit. I think this was more directed at me about in terms of where players may or may not finish, and some of the prior conversations we've had. He again brings up, this might get awkward if we have him tonight. He brought up and said, "Would you also make your same bet about Paul finishing in the top 10 at every event?" And as many of you Smashies know, a year or so ago or 2 years ago, I had said I would I did bet $100 and said anyone could take me up on it that Paul would never finish outside of the top 10 at an event. And that year he went on to do just that, not finish.
Never, but that particular year.
Yeah, for that year. And that I think is fair to say is a little bit dicier now. Competition levels rising, and he's of course still adjusting to his new bag. So, and he also said, "Will any woman cash at every Pro Tour, NT, and Major?"
I don't.
And I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, probably Paige.
And I have to put my money on Paige.
Yeah.
And rewind 2 or 3 years ago, I would put my money on Kat. Kat has of course played some phenomenal golf, and she's also struggled on a given weekend where we've seen her bounce back, but sometimes not quite enough. So I think that's a very fair question. And then how many MPO players will win multiple Pro Tour events? How many will win multiple FPO events? And that's a good question that I didn't put enough thought into. So, I mean, we all know Big Germs had his success down in Waco. But I've also been there both years.
That's true. Without you there, Germ will be lucky if he's not, bottom 5.
Yeah.
I mean, you are clearly the wind beneath his wings that he needs in order to succeed.
Yeah, I mean, I felt so ingratiated both when Big Germ won the Memorial, and then a few years later when he won Waco the first time. And both times he said he was so glad to have Jomez here as we're broadcasting his win live. And he says, we're so glad to have Jomez here. And I was so glad to broadcast it live for Big Germ. Just so fulfilling. Dana, we talked about that once, but we'll move on.
No, one of the things I'm a little bit worried about the Pro Tour for is just the comparison that they're going to see with Jomez and their post-production stuff. I mean, we're going to leave the live stuff out because the live is the live no matter what we see. So the comparisons that are going to inevitably happen, and it's going to be unfortunate because Jomez has a workflow, they have a wonderful product, and the Pro Tour is working their way up. So inevitably you're going to see people come out and compare the two, and it's not going to be fair, but they're going to be side by side, and you're not going to be able to stop people. And I think that is going to bubble up again, maybe not quite as badly as it did 2 weeks ago, but it's going to happen. And I'm sure the Pro Tour is aware of it. They can't not be aware of it. And I think that there's going to be a screaming for things that aren't going to be able to happen.
Dana, the over/under on how many people will be yelling this weekend that they want Jomez on the lead card as opposed to the chase card where they've agreed to?
Oh boy, that's gonna the numbers. That's gonna be social media is gonna be ablaze with Jomez should be on lead card.
I'm kind of glad that I'm going to be out of touch because
yeah, we are too.
I have a hard time not responding sometimes to stupid people usually. If you're seeing the stream bounce a little bit, that's because it is. It looks like it just got a little better here, but it's going to be difficult, and I'm glad I'm just going to be taking in the sun.
So the Pro Tour this weekend kicks off on Thursday. We'll get back to it a little later in the show, but yes, it's taking place Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It is not ending on Sunday like we saw at the Memorial, and that was an anomaly over the last few years as well, that it ended on Sunday as opposed to Saturday. Meanwhile, Waco has the 2 years that we've been there, we've seen it end on Saturday. They've got a great event plan. I know Ryan Draper and the entire crew, along with Dynamic Disc, who has been the title sponsor of that event for many years, having Jomez involved, having a great course. Almost all of our top-level pros are down there competing. We're expecting nothing but a really great show overall by this second stop on the Pro Tour. And as Johnny mentioned earlier in the show, Dana, me like Drew Gibson, this will be the first Pro Tour event since its inception that I'm not physically at. And I'm not out for injury, as Drew is, but that's going to be a little bit weird to watch from afar as well. So we'll see how that goes.
Refresh my memory what you're going to be doing.
I'll be
hopefully
home.
spending time with your family.
Yeah, believe it or not, I've got kiddos and Girl Scouts, and home life and everything else, getting caught up on some other videos that I've got to get out. But yeah, it's going to be very weird. Being at the memorial didn't feel as weird because, of course, I was still there and just not in that role. But at this weekend's event, I'm technically 100% not involved. So it'll be interesting.
So
All right.
Dana,
All right.
I have one question before we leave.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to pick your favorite Discmania disc,
Jeez.
what would it be?
And are you giving one away?
No, he's not giving one away.
The CD2.
The CD2.
It's,
No
yeah.
way.
It's
Why?
amazing that you say that. This was not planned at all, and you decided to pick the CD2. It just so happens that when we kick you off the air, we have a review from Disc Golf Nerd on the Dana CD2.
Oh, you would.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Nobody ran this by me. This is a ridiculous setup.
Just saying.
All right, Dynamite, we're going to let you go. I think we're going to catch up with Foundation Disc Golf. Paul McBeth has some insights along with the rest of his business partners on that. I know you said you wanted to learn more. We're going to learn about the CD2, and we'll see you next week.
All right, Smashies. Disc Golf Nerd, you the man.
What's up, Smashies? We have a very special review this month for one of our own, Dynamite Vitchy. This is his signature edition, Roaming Thunder CD2 by Discmania. The first thing I noticed about this disc, other than the sweet artwork, is that it has a really comfortable feel in the hand. I really like the S-line swirly plastic, has a great grip and feel. Another thing that's really apparent about this disc is that it has a big pop-top dome on this disc that you can definitely notice in the hand. Comfortable rim profile, not very wide. Just about anybody can get a good grip on this disc, and I definitely enjoy the feel in the hand very much. I think the pop-top dome on this particular run ends up making them quite overstable, actually. Not super overstable, but for slower arm speeds, it's definitely going to be on the overstable side of things. As a fairway driver, it's going to have a pretty good amount of fade for you. You're not going to see a lot of natural turn. Even for me, I don't see a ton of natural turn out of this disc. It will kind of flip up and hold flat for quite a while and then finish in. I don't get a ton of distance out of it myself, but if you have a little bit more power and throw it nice and flat, you can definitely get some good distance with some good glide. Almost like a PD with a little bit more glide is what Dana was telling me. I definitely agree with that sentiment. Solid workhorse disc overall, can fly on a variety of different angles, but it does tend to want to fade. No matter how we threw it during our testing, it wanted to hook up pretty much every time at the end of the flight. Great for flex shots, flat shots that have nice fade when they slow down, and really solid workhorse disc you can throw on a lot of different lines out there on the course. Well, that's it for this month. Big thank you to Smashbox for having me be a part of the show. If you'd like to see the full review on this disc and over 200 others, just search for Disc Golf Nerd on Google or YouTube, and you can find me. I'll check you later. Cheers.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Again, thank you, Disc Golf Nerd. Unfortunately, I didn't have audio for that, so I didn't get to hear it. I'll have to go back and listen to the review a little later. However, that almost was a seamless transition. I think we're going to bring a couple special guests into the show.
All right.
I want to thank them for their patience as things kind of got assembled here in the 11th hour. Johnny's going to click some more buttons.
I truly am, and we're going to see if we can get this.
You click buttons real well, buddy.
No, not always.
Is there any more pressure when I talk about you clicking buttons? Like, hurry up and click the right button?
Hurry up and click the right buttons? Well, what we can do first is we can welcome in our guest, our first guest.
All right, let's bring him in.
And while I quickly set up a shot so I can bring in, our other guest.
Ryan?
Yes, we right now we have Paul
Great.
McBeth here, and Paul, we're just working on getting a little bit of the alignment as bringing in multiple people is an extra step here for Johnny. But Paul, as Johnny's doing that. People like myself, I literally said the other day, like, who the F is Foundation Disc Golf? Because I saw a few posts, and then, I put a few puzzle pieces together, and somehow you're on one of those puzzle pieces. What can you tell me?
Yeah, so Foundation Disc Golf, I was going to leave this to Zach.
Okay,
but,
well, if you want to wait, that's fine.
I'll fill it in a little bit.
Okay.
But Foundation Disc Golf is just an idea that myself, Zach, and our friend Hunter kind of had. With me, I my part is I want to build a disc golf course. Bought the property, want to build a pro shop, and that's my part. Zach and Hunter are in the disc sales business, but together we just want to bring a community to our area for disc golf. We have so many courses, but we're lacking that community, and that we have a club, but there's no leagues. There's not really much going on besides just people going out and playing disc golf recreationally. So Zach and Hunter, they were at Liberty. Oh, there he is.
Hello.
But yeah, Zach and Hunter were at Liberty, and they have a great disc golf team there. Lots of players, men and women. So our goal is to bring events, whether it's just a weekly league or just somewhere where people can talk and communicate. But yeah, I'll let Zach take it from here.
All right.
Hello.
Hi, Zach. Welcome to the show.
How you doing? Thank you.
Paul was obviously just giving us a little bit of the introduction, which I think you were hearing. But what I want to know, he said there was a great team at Liberty, and you guys being part of that. Did it get better or worse when Paul was rejected from the team a couple years ago? I know he showed up as an imposter.
It's been good. We're doing good over there.
All right. So go ahead and give us your side. I mean, how do you guys hook up with a 4-time world champ to start making things happen?
Yeah, so me and Hunter were both on the Liberty team, as Paul said, and Hunter met him years back, I believe, through the Liberty team as well. But I met him just maybe 2 or 3 years ago on the team, and we just kind of kicked it off. Started with, me just being a fan of Paul, him helping us at practice and stuff like that. And then we just got talking, and we all became friends, started hanging out, and then this idea just came to be.
And now we'll sidetrack. We'll get back to the business side, but we'll sidetrack from the origins, which is this college disc golf scene, the college nationals. Those are right around the corner. Is that right? Do you guys have a team, and who's all going and representing?
Yes, that's correct. It's in the last week of March. It is at IDGC this year, which is a big change. This is the first year it's been there. And we are bringing about maybe 16 guys and 6 girls, I believe. So
the largest team, right?
Yeah, we always have the largest team, and it is our largest team that we're bringing this year. So,
wow, that's pretty exciting. And I didn't know that the Hippodrome wasn't in place. Were there, maybe were there politics or something on the back end, or
so they slowly were losing courses. Last year we didn't get to play Old Glory, which was their flagship course, and we didn't get to play it that last year. And we were told that they were slowly losing that side of the property, and then they weren't going to be able to have enough room to house everybody. And it's just stuff of like course design, a bunch of raised baskets that a lot of the college disc golf scene didn't really enjoy. So the more that the word got out there, they were able to, I guess, move past, and they got it at IDGC, which is going to be great.
Yeah, and I'm sure and Paul knows, we all know, the IDGC is it's an amazing place that I think is probably slightly undervalued and underutilized. So to have all of the college scene show up there and play the major at that venue, you have the 3 courses on site, plus all these great amenities, and then the clubhouse, and all of those things that are available to all members or non-members year round. But to be able to go there for the weekend, it's almost feels like a little bit of a pilgrimage when you head to that property.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to go there. I know a lot of our guys on our team haven't been there. I'm sure a lot of the college scene just hasn't been there in general, because we just always go to the Hippodrome. It's a little farther of a drive, but not a big deal. But we're definitely all excited. It's going to be like kind of real courses that we're going to be playing this year. So it's really going to bring out the best in all the players. Okay,
and again, I don't know all the insider. I don't know any insider scoop here, but as you guys have developed foundation disc golf, and as Paul talked about, leagues and organized golf, and on the sales side, is this what we're going to also see incorporated, Paul, as you guys ultimately have a clubhouse on your property? You see those as joint ventures or separate ventures?
Yeah, I believe that's mainly where the idea came from. Was my goal is to put a property or a pro shop on the property, but the course is kind of with me being on tour all the time, it's going to take longer than normal. And these guys were, finishing up college. Actually, they both are due to graduate in May, and they're ready to go. And I was like, if that's what you guys want to do, go for it. Like don't let me hold back what you guys want to do. I want to be a part with these guys, but I can only be a part from afar right now until the course and the pro shop and the disc golfer's dream starts becoming a reality. So these guys are handling it, and I'm 100% supporting them and right there with them.
Well, and when I saw Foundation Disc Golf, and I thought that you had a tie to it originally, but then I also saw a number of name brands that weren't necessarily Discraft, and that's where I thought, okay, there's something bigger going on. You guys are looking to be a full-service shop and provide all the manufacturers and probably all of the wares and goods and all of that stuff. Is that right, Zach?
Yes, that is the plan. Right now, like you said, we just have a few right now. We have some Innova, we have Discraft, Latitude, Dynamic, those brands. And as we grow, we plan to have all of the bigger brands and full stock of Innova, stuff like that. So that is the ultimate goal. But just growing from what we have right now is what's going to get us there. So.
And speaking of growing, you guys have now released, I believe, 2 separate videos on YouTube. The one that I saw, I think, released today. Well, I'll let you set them both up. Why don't you tell us what we've seen and what we can expect to see on your channel?
Okay, yeah. So the first video that we released was maybe a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago with Paul, which was a kind of like behind the scenes how Paul goes through his practice rounds. And we've got great feedback. Everyone's loving it. They said it's really no pro has released kind of video like this. So we're excited to get more of that content out there. That's part of what Foundation is we're here to just help the average player. There's not really many companies that are out there that can help the average player like that. So that's one of the videos series that we're going to try to do with Paul. And then other video that we released today was a fun video. It's another side where people can see, the playful side of Paul, not the very serious side. And we just went to the store, bought some fun items, different items, and played a few rounds of golf with it. So that's something called the Foundation Face-Off that we'll do. We're going to try and do more videos, not just with Paul. That's the second Foundation Face-Off that we have. I am up 2-0, by the way, on Hunter.
Spoilers, bro. Spoilers.
Oh, sorry.
Yes,
I'm new to this.
As Paul just said, I think you guys are looking at getting close to graduation. What are you guys both studying? And then, is this the plan immediately after college, or are you going to, have another job, or what's kind of the plan there?
Yeah, so I'm getting a degree in digital marketing and advertising, and then Hunter's getting a degree in graphic design. So that's also why we're really on top of all the social media game and videos and stuff like that is we just feel like that's a big part of what we can produce. And the plan for both of us right now is to do Foundation as much as we can and do some social media marketing on the side. Hopefully that'll support enough to where we can travel a lot with Foundation, as we do plan on being out a lot of events and vending, hosting events, stuff like that. So right now that is the plan, is to go with Foundation, and then if we need to, get part-time jobs, but try and put as much focus as we can on Foundation.
Well, and I'll tell you, it sounds like you're college age and very ambitious. It's a lot of stuff to take on, and of course I know that game all too well. When you're talking about vending, you're talking about wearing all of those different hats, and Paul's been on the road as much as anyone. There's a lot of those moving parts, and hopefully you guys will be able to coordinate. I think would you say it'll be, let me rephrase that. How will you decide where you're dividing up your time, we'll say from home time, meaning leagues, tournaments, and things of that nature, versus on the road time? How are you going to try and maybe juggle those two instances?
I don't know. I think I could say this. Yeah, I can say this.
You can say it here.
Okay, we partnered with Next Gen, which we are very excited about. So we will be the official on-site vendor. So we will also host some premier events. So that right now I think is going to be a big priority on dates that we're going to choose. And then when we are not doing that is when we will be trying to really boost up the leagues in our local area and stuff like that. So I think Next Gen is going to be playing a big role and then after that will probably be the leagues and stuff like that that are at home.
Awesome. Now, Paul, I fully expect to see you at some of these events wearing a fanny pack with a bunch of singles, making change as these guys are hustling discs, right?
I mean, yeah, that's ideal, you know. But no, like you said, the next gen thing is something with Felberg and his crew. And when I talked to these guys, they were all on board, so they want to make as many as they can. But they still want to be smart about it and keep it. Only go to the East Coast ones that are travelable, in a weekend and stuff like that. But yeah, I think they're going down the right path, and yeah, if I can be there and help, I'll be there. I know I'll be. I'm 90% sure that I'll be at the final at the end of the year.
Yeah. Do you know anything we don't about where and when that final is? I know Felberg and I have had conversations, but what do you know?
I do, but I'm not saying it here on Smashbox.
Oh. Wow. Yeah. I'll remember that next time you want a secret from me.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, ask him live on the air. Good idea.
Yeah.
So working on the videos, working on all this other stuff, what's, dare I ask, and maybe I don't know if it's daunting or not, but what do you see in 5 years or maybe even in 10 years? Where do you guys see Foundation and what you're doing in a 5 or a 10-year outlook?
Well, I'll say, I mean, I expect to see the course in and a pro shop. So that's my goal, and hopefully Foundation will be headlining some tournaments that we're hosting there, and some more in the area, and hopefully branched out by then. But maybe their own shop, storefront.
Okay.
5-10 years, I think that's very realistic.
May I
You're
add?
on board with that? Yeah.
Yes.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, I just can't see. I don't know why my screen is. I could see Paul. So I think definitely is 5-10 years. We would like to probably have a team in place where we don't have to, or we can't travel to a lot West Coast tournaments. So maybe a team that will be able to vend out there for Foundation. I know we're working with some people up in the Northeast that are going to help vend for us this year for next gen and some tournaments. So maybe just a team that will have in place that'll be able to get us into more places, get the name out there more.
Awesome. And Paul, I think a pretty good question off the board right now is how far along is the course right now, and then when do you expect kind of either a soft or an official grand opening on the course?
I wouldn't say it's close. We have 2 holes that are cut out. But our biggest issue is we have to find the right equipment, and then more than likely buying the right equipment, not just renting it. I think would be better, especially if we plan on doing more courses than just one, because right now we do still have the land available in the area. So if I can jump on more than one, I definitely want to do that. But it's finding the right equipment for what we have. Like I said, we have 2 holes in. No, I shouldn't say they're in. We have 2 holes cut out. A majority of them are already cut out. It's cleaning it up. Down trees, I feel like, are harder to get rid of than trees that have been down for quite a while than cutting them down and just getting them out of the way. So finding the right equipment. I think I was told like a hydro axe would be really good, but going to be spending a lot of money. So
sounds dangerous.
Yeah,
like
it
fun.
does sound dangerous. But I think realistically 2020 would be a safe time frame to say. But as far as the pro shop, I don't know when the pro shop will be in, but the course, it's going to be a high priority this coming fall and winter.
And not to harp on it too much, but I know there's some immediate follow-ups everyone else will have. One of the questions would be, I assume you're looking at 18 holes, and then do you have a par and/or a distance in mind for a championship layout?
I think the par I want to get somewhere between 64 and 68. We have 40 acres, but I think realistically about 35 of that is usable for the course. So it's not ideal how much land. I would like a little bit more, but I think we could still get a really good course. I wish we had more open land to have more open holes, but that would require a lot more land. But 64 to 68, lots of up and down. I don't even know if there's a flat, really more than 1 or 2 flat holes on the course. Yeah, it's very lots of elevation change on the property. Lots of rock, like big boulders, and like I mean big boulders, like some pretty areas. So, but yeah, so it's going to be difficult to clean it up, but once it's done, I think it's going to be incredible.
Sounds like you definitely need some of that heavy equipment that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So Zach, I know you kind of talked a little bit about, you know, your introduction with Paul, but how far back and what's been your involvement with disc golf? Like, how were you introduced to the sport? And maybe the same for your, you know, the other business partner, Hunter. How were you guys introduced, and what's kind of your background in disc golf?
Yeah, so I started playing disc golf my freshman year of college, so just about 3 years ago. Hasn't been that long. I was introduced by just a few friends. I was just sitting in my dorm room, and some guys were going out to play at the course on our campus, and they just asked me to go, and I said sure, and I went out there and I started playing with one disc, and then the next year I went and tried out for the team with one disc, just throwing overhand, with a Champion Beast was my first disc. So that was interesting. And then now I've just been playing since then. I mean, I'm not the best player, you know, I'm like 900 rated, a little higher maybe. And Hunter, he's been playing for a lot longer than I have. He's good. He's starting to play open now, a lot of the local open tournaments. But he's gone to a few tournaments with Paul. I believe he's traveled with Paul a few times, so he's seen the big stage, and I've just been really just like the amateur player, just trying to have fun. And yeah.
Yeah, but as you said, in the challenges, you're up 2-0. So that's all I care about.
That's really what matters.
Yes.
I am up 2-0. Check out those videos if you haven't. They're a good time.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see this, but I still have a blood blister from the last video.
Yeah, that was mine.
Is it show up there?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can see it.
Yeah.
All right, so follow that up. I mean, you know, this is also pre-Waco, second stop on the Pro Tour. You know, we've now seen you at, you know, of course, out in California at the wintertime, then Vegas, then Memorial. You made you know, that final push in the last day or two at Memorial, but here you are moving into the second stop on the Pro Tour. A, did you take the last weekend off? I think the answer is yes. And B, what can we expect from you at Waco?
I took yeah, you're right. I did take last weekend off. Went back to Virginia, saw our dog. We were gone for 6 weeks, so it was quite a trip. But went home, got the new disc, got the Kong, got the new Lunas. You know, a lot of those discs are actually going to drop here soon, so that's exciting. But just kind of regrouped, got everything together, and yeah, went out and played today here in Waco. And it's a same course. It's extremely muddy. It was really muddy today. Still got that nasty weather coming, but I expect to play well. The key is putting for me. I keep saying it all year, last year, the year before. It's you know, if I feel like I can get that putter on for any weekend, I should be, you know, at the top. I mean my drives and upshots have been proving that. It's just been falling off at the putter, so it's disappointing, but you know, it's the challenge. If there was no challenge, it'd be boring.
Well, I have to follow that up and then ask you. You know, you talk about the putter being a little bit of your downfall. I think one of the questions that keeps getting asked is the Luna or this version or iteration of the Luna? Give us the exact breakdown if it is at all different from the ones that were released just a few weeks ago or months ago. How are these two discs similar or different from the Luna in the Luna's perspective?
It is different. The mold is the same, but what happened with the prototype is there was such a high demand. You know, it was incredible, and I'm thankful for that. And Discraft is, but with that demand, we had to order more supplies. And when we called the sorry, someone just sent me a message. When we called the supplier to order more of the white rubber for the putter, he said that they don't make that anymore. So we're like, oh no. Oh. that was a shock. So we did what we could, but they don't make the white rubber anymore. They actually make a black rubber. So it's not white anymore, it's black. And when the first ones come out, you'll be able to see the difference. And it's actually not that textury feel anymore. It's more of a smooth smooth feel, but with very similar grip. So
okay.
it seems like the black kind of morphed into the putter a little bit more. But
now these first ones almost had like a jawbreaker-ish feel to it, but you wouldn't classify it that way.
Yeah, I mean, both of them are jawbreaker-based plastic with rubber added, but the white rubber kind of came to the outside and just kind of like sat on top of the jawbreaker. This kind of went into it, so you can see it, but you can't feel it. So if people didn't like that texture, they're really gonna like this the switch of the smooth now feel. But it still has that same overall firmness and flight.
Okay, and if they did like that texture, I know who's sitting on a whole bunch of the prototype Lunas.
True. It looks like we lost Zach, so looks like he's calling back here.
We'll see if we can get Zach back on the line. I think he was feeling
I can see myself
he just couldn't see everything on the same screen, but I think we'll get him back.
Yeah.
We can see you, Zach. You may not be able to see everything going on our end, but everyone can see you just fine.
Yep, you're here. That's okay.
Zach, here we are in March. I'm guessing, I think I saw both you and Hunter, 21. Wild, crazy spring break plans before you close out the year. What's going on for the next few weeks?
Daytona Beach, isn't it?
Yeah.
No,
A1A.
No, I'm back in my hometown in Long Island. I'm currently wedding planning, getting a lot of stuff done. I'm getting married in the beginning of June, right after I graduate. So that's what I'm doing. And Hunter is still in Virginia. He's just hanging out there. He's married too. He's hanging out with his wife. So no crazy plans. Just
wow.
I'm
gonna say it's great. Congratulations, you guys getting it done early. 21-year-old who's already married, and then a 21-year-old
getting married,
who's graduating and then getting married. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys have been together a long time though, right?
Yeah, I've known my fiance since we've been 12. Is when we went on our first date. So it's been a while.
Under the bleachers? Is that where it was?
No, we went to the movies. We saw Twilight.
Oh, God, that makes Johnny and I sound really old.
I'm so old.
Yep.
That's adorable. So nothing crazy, but you guys are obviously looking to close out your college careers, which has to be really exciting. What are some of the very first things, after graduation? You know, I know you just talked about what you have in the works, but what are some of the very first things? I guess for you, it's got to be wedding on your mind the whole time.
Yeah, wedding. As soon as we graduate, it'll be like 3 weeks, and then we get married. So I'll be coming back here for a little while. But first, after I graduate, I'll be working on foundation for a few weeks before I come back home, and then getting married, going on our honeymoon. Back to Virginia is where we're moving because we're both from Long Island. Back to Virginia, we're going to move close to Lynchburg, Good area. So she's going to go to PA school, and then I'm going to start working with foundation again. Well, I'm not going to stop, but I'm going to keep working with foundation. So yeah, that's the plan, is to move down to Virginia after.
Wow, sounds pretty busy, and it sounds like you got a lot of ducks in a row there.
Yeah.
I didn't have my crap together at 21.
Implying you do now.
Hey, for at least a year I've had my crap together.
We'll see. Going back briefly on the videos, again, we've seen 2 of them released. Do you have a premise? Do you have the plot or a plan for upcoming videos? Anything that you can share with us in terms of what we might see?
I mean, not really. A lot of our plans just come on the fly, whatever we think is funny at the moment, or whatever we think is, our viewers are going to watch. But definitely more videos with Paul of like behind the scenes. That video, like I said before, a lot of people seem to like that, and they said it helped them, and that there was not a lot of videos out there like that. So videos with Paul, and we have some formwork videos on there as well, where, like we said, I guess, like I said before, again, we just really aim to help like the amateur player that just needs a little bit of help. So if you need help with your backhand footwork or just how to throw a forehand, those are videos that we're going to be releasing and just trying to help people.
Awesome. And Paul, is this going to be one of your creative outlets that you have now, that you can just make videos come to life just like that now that you have this crew?
No, I mean, that is true. Yeah, that will be a thing. If there's ideas, I always share it with them, whether they can do it with me or just those 2, or even with some more people in Virginia. But yeah, I always get ideas on the road, like, hey, you guys should try this or try that. So it's good to have, some guys back home that can make that happen. Yeah, I look forward to doing more stuff like this.
I was just gonna say, I'm not sure if it has to be rebranded at all, or if anyone owns any rights to it. Well, besides maybe you, Paul. McBeast Diaries. I know. We saw those for a little while. Is there any iteration or version of that that we might see again?
Well, I mean, Hannah's doing her vlogs. She does a lot of filming, and she's supposed to have one come out, but we're having our garage / training center finished at our house, and they started grading our front yard to fix it because they built a new driveway into the garage and stuff, and they cut our internet cable. So she hasn't been able to upload that that's the second time they've done it, which it's not their fault. It's Verizon's fault. So they keep burying the cord when we say don't do it until we're done with the project, and they keep doing it and getting it cut. So we've been out of internet for the house for a while. So
my gosh, how is she surviving? I know I've seen her complain in previous in months about not having internet and the living that life. How is she surviving?
She can go to the public library.
That's true.
Yeah, actually, we have one not too far away.
See,
so she could, but I mean, we have an iPad, luckily, that connects to our TV, so just go through data. Not the greatest, but it works.
Paul, you mentioned
a lot.
What's that?
She's reading a lot, so that helps with no TV or
That's
internet.
good.
Maybe she's reading the Twilight series.
So, Paul, you had mentioned you're obviously in Waco for this stop. What are you on a mini tour? Are you going right back home after this? I know there's a few events in Texas, and then there's Throw Down the Mountain and a little bit of a Florida swing. What's kind of your plan over the next just couple of weeks?
Pretty busy. Well, I was originally supposed to play Waco, fly back to Virginia. Bob Julio and was supposed to pick me up in the RV. We were supposed to ride off into the sunset down to Florida, but they're having a little issue with the air ride, so they wanted to get that fixed and dialed in before bringing it down. So they kept it for another week. So I'm actually flying back here Monday, which I just heard earlier in the show. This tournament ends on Saturday, so I'll get Waco for an extra day. I did that last year too, but I'll fly out Monday at 5 a.m. from Dallas. I land in Lynchburg at 12, and then I fly out of Lynchburg at 3 p.m. to go to Florida.
Wow.
Yep. So
I'm not sure Google Maps would have done it that way, but I guess that'll work.
Well, I got this trip before thinking I was going back to going to get the RV ride, and then
sure.
But I mean, it's so cheap to fly from Lynchburg to Florida. It was like $200 round trip, so I wasn't too worried about it. Yeah,
that is pretty cheap.
Yeah, and so I think I'll see you in Florida, Throw Down the Mountain, and then I know there's a couple of events. The Florida kind of has like 3 weekends in a row of A-tiers, with Throwdown being the first one. Jacksonville, Tallahassee, then following up. But there's also some players that are going to be over in Texas. Are you going back or forth one way or another?
Yeah, so with that, I keep getting my dates mixed up, but going down to Throw Down the Mountain and then flying back to Virginia, and I don't know if it's a week or immediately right after it's the College Nationals, and then somewhere in there, Tallahassee. We actually changed our plans to go to Tallahassee, which you reminded me I have to sign up for that.
I'm glad I'm here for you, buddy.
Yeah, because we were going to go to Nick Hyde. But then, they're having like the course change and then the sponsorship weird stuff. And it's just like everything just seems to be, falling out of place there. It's still probably going to be a great event. But in order for us to go from College Nationals, drive 18 hours to go there to learn, possibly a new course and then, not know what's fully going on. And then after that, drive another 14 hours or something up to GBO or Jonesboro. That would be. Yeah, it'd be a lot. So we're just going to take like the 4-hour drive or something down to Florida and then do the 14-hour drive, whatever, to Jonesboro. So
okay,
we should have the RV by then, so it'll be a little bit easier. And then you basically know the tour after that. It's all the big ones: Pro Tour, NT.
Does anyone else think that I should be planning more of Paul's schedule here for him?
Well, I was just thinking. if Paul needs a PA, like a personal assistant.
I have it. It's all written out on Google Sheets, but I don't have it memorized. I just know which tournaments I'm gonna be at once I look at it.
Right now, also, are you going to be setting any records for amount of RVs or trailers that you've either owned or been part of or in or out of over the last decade?
No, this is only my second one.
Okay, we'll give you that. Zach,
this one's actually Disc Craft's, not even mine. So.
Okay,
the trailer was mine.
Yeah, I know. If you would have just held on to it, Zach and Foundation could have been off and running with it. He's nodding. He thinks that was a great idea.
Yeah.
Zach, anything you want to share with us that maybe I didn't prompt you for or think about here in Foundation? Something that, for the people that are just discovering you guys on the internet or on YouTube, which I think is also on the internet, but discovering you on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, when people are questioning or wondering what's going on, do you have an elevator pitch that you want to give everyone so everyone knows?
Yeah. I don't have one put together, but I'll go with it. So just Foundation's going to be there for anyone that needs help or has questions. Just something that we also do on our website is disc recommendations. If you could fill out a form that says if you're an amateur, if you're a beginner, how far you throw, if you are brand loyal, and we will recommend discs for you. So we, again, just trying to help people that need help. Again, all of our videos are out there just for you guys. So if you guys have suggestions, let us know in the comments and things like that, and we can make stuff that you guys like, because, again, we're just here for you guys. We also have some proto discs on our website right now that are for pre-sale. The Proto Kong and the Luna and the Raptor and the Soul. If you guys want those, you guys can go get them on our website as well.
FoundationDisc.com.
Yes, sorry, FoundationDiscs.com. If you haven't checked out our videos, also go ahead and go check them out. Subscribe. We do a lot of giveaways. We just gave away another disc today. So just
you guys put up a flash sale today too.
We did flash sale on anything. It's Innova, Latitude, and Innova, Latitude, and Prodigy. Yeah.
Okay. Oh well. So my most important question then has to be, when we do need or are looking for giveaways for a show or advertising or supporting other videos, which one of the three of you do I have to go after?
Hunter.
Probably Hunter. Yeah.
The guy who's not here. Guy who's not here. Okay. Okay. I think Hunter's out on the board. So Hunter, you heard it here first. You just have to give me whatever I asked for. That's awesome.
We got a shirt for you, Terry. Just send us your size.
All right. I saw some sweatshirts. I wouldn't be opposed.
I have a shirt on right now. Can you see it?
Okay. Yeah.
I like that.
I got a black shirt on over here.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not saying I wouldn't. If you got a big guy size for in one of those sweatshirts that I saw, I could be bribed with a sweatshirt.
You too, Johnny V. We got you.
Thank you.
It's not just all Terry.
I know. I take talls.
All right, guys. Is there anything else we need to know before we let you go here tonight?
No, just thanks for having us. We really appreciate it, and we're thankful what you guys are doing. You guys do a great job. We're gonna miss you. Well, I'm gonna miss you not being here at Waco. So
it's gonna hurt.
Yep.
Gonna hurt.
Just make sure to direct those cameramen.
I already did today. I had a long conversation. I almost didn't make it to this because I was talking to them.
Oh, really? Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
Wow. Right. What advice or what did you talk to them about?
Did you warn them?
No. Kind of going off what happened at Memorial. Like there were some of them where they were like two at Fountain Hills, for example. They were like 2 peninsulas away, like from where the T-box was. There were a few peninsulas away, and I was like, if this was Smashbox, they'd be standing right there by the basket. They see the disc come in, they jump out of the way, and you might miss it for a second, but you see it clearly went in the water. But you actually see the disc come in. Yep. Just get closer than you think. You can be closer to the basket than you think. We'd rather you be there than hit our disc, some midway down the fairway, or you're missing the shots because you're another peninsula away. And if you're in the way, we'll tell you just the the small stuff, and there's one other thing, but I can't remember.
Yeah, that was one thing I kept trying to reiterate with them was like, get in there closer, because if you're bothering them, they will tell you. But just stand still, point a camera, and follow a disc. And they'll get better. And they, as I said last week, they'll definitely get better, and with a little bit of practice. So I'm excited to see the results from this week.
Exactly. And I mean, honestly, I'd rather hit them next to the basket because it was a good shot anyways, rather than being, midway down the fairway and getting caught by one.
Yeah.
So
that's a valid point. Paul, I may hit you up one of these days. I think I have some post-production videos put together, and I may be calling you up for a little co-commentary. I know you love that, don't you?
Didn't you just ask Eagle for that last week? And
we got Eagle. I've got Eagle. I got Pete Ulibarri stepping in tomorrow. We've got Nate Perkins and Paige are going to do some Thailand action. I'm just trying to spread the love. I'm just trying to get you a little, airtime.
I'm glad I was your first choice.
Well, for certain rounds, I would like to have you, and I'm spreading the love with other rounds with other people. It's going to be great.
Going to be great, he says.
All right, guys. Well, we do appreciate the insight. We appreciate the exclusives that you spilled, or maybe shouldn't have spilled, but we thank you so much for joining us. And
Zach?
Johnny? Yeah?
Yes, I just have one more thing.
Yep.
I forgot to mention this. So we have a podcast Thursday nights at 8 o'clock. It's called Grip Locked. We got our inspiration from you guys, just so you know. So we do a college disc golf segment, which a lot of people don't do. What?
The grip lock part was from that.
Jerk. Stop.
Oh, sorry. We're losing you, Paul.
Oh, we're about to lose that signal.
Sorry. Go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, so just go check out that podcast. We had a video where we interviewed Paul last week, just a bunch of random questions that everyone asks. So check that out Thursday night at 8 o'clock.
Awesome. And do you guys do it live?
We do, yes.
Okay.
Live
Awesome.
Thursdays on YouTube. Yep.
Very cool.
Fantastic.
All right, guys. Well, keep at it. If there's anything we can do to help, we'd love to spread the love around and help promote and push everyone up as best as we can. And looking forward to seeing both of you at one time or another. I'll see you guys on the road. Paul, I'll probably see you in a couple weeks at Throwdown. And looking forward to it all.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate
Right,
it.
good night, guys.
Thanks. Night.
Thanks. Grip lock. What a
sweatshirts. All right. Well, I gotta say, and I was being totally, legit when I said, like, who are these, who's Foundation Disc Golf when I saw that pop up. This was a few weeks ago, and I really didn't know. And Dana said the same thing at first. And so I hope everyone has a little more insight as we talk to two of the three business partners there. I think
well, the third, as we said, was on the board answering questions and directing people. So that's a great way to interact. It's actually
It actually kind of helps out.
It does help out quite a bit because we don't always see the chat. We try to, but if there's questions out there, the other person can go and answer them.
Yeah, exactly.
So it worked out very well. So we're very happy to have Foundation.
Hunter from afar, along with Zach and Paul. And yeah, like I said, I do what I can to get Paul a little airtime. If there's one guy that
needs it,
lacking,
starving for attention,
we can be his conduit. Glad to do so.
Just glad to help a guy out.
All right. Speaking of airtime, I think this is a perfectly timed quick segue to. It was brought up via the tweets, just recently. Hannah McBeth, Paul's wife, had said she kind of put the question out to the world. I'm guessing she was asked by someone, probably a PDGA media constituent, if Hannah McBeth should in fact be a commentator or a competitor at this year's Pro Worlds. And she was kind of putting it out there. Last year, of course, we had her for the Pro Worlds. I couldn't have been more thrilled and excited to work alongside her, as I thought she just came in and she killed it and did a really good job with it, as I'll say, we kind of anticipated. And then she ultimately was then used for the USDGC a few months later and had a similar role on the media side. So it will be interesting to see.
But listening to this Twitter conversation, it didn't sound like she, not that I don't want to say she didn't enjoy her time with the USDGC, but I think she felt more awkward because the conversation was, hey, joking between her and I think Steve Hill from the PDGA saying, hey, are you going to do commentary, this and that? And she kind of got serious at the end and said, basically, no, I don't want to have to pretend that I'm not Paul's wife and be there to support him. And so ultimately, she said that she would not be doing commentary for Open, most certainly, and that she doesn't plan on doing it for FPO because she plans on being on the lead card. That was what she said. That might have been a little tongue in cheek, but ultimately, that whole thing did go down. And shout out to Ace Run Productions for the super chat, much appreciated. As they say, there is still time to enter to win a Zuca cart on their site. Enter by March 16th. Watch the Super Bowl Scramble vids on their site to find out how to win a Zuca cart.
Very cool. And, we've seen Zuca supporting on so many levels. There was also a support given away in terms of a grant or an award given away at the Pro Tour opener at the Memorial. I know they're looking to do the same at Waco. I think there was actually an article about it recently. So it's been just so great. Zuca has come in and continues to not only make these great products, but then also they're constantly giving back. And someone has said, well, I don't roll a card, or I don't use use something of that nature, and that's fine. But just know that Zuca, it feels like on every turn when asked, they've supported me personally in our Australia trip. They've supported the Pro Tour, the National Tour, individual events, and everything in between. So to Jen and everyone at Zuca, along with Jason Wilder over in Minnesota, there you go, Beth. Thank you guys so much. And as Ace Run Productions said, go out, watch the Super Bowl Scramble, as Johnny just said, to find out how to win. And you'll have until 3/16. Very cool. All right. I think we covered the nuts and the bolts of what I was concerned about here for tonight, knowing that the Waco Pro Tour event is moving into town. Paul made a quick mention of it. Some rain sounds like it rolled into town into practice, into their practice schedule. As he said, that leaves a little bit of mud behind. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the forecast. In fact, maybe that's something I could do. I am curious to know. I feel like the men have thus far been pretty blessed at most of these big events that we've seen in the early part of the season far.
We've had, Vegas and Memorial?
Wintertime, Vegas, Memorial.
Wintertime had rain.
Oh, it did for one round. I guess you're right.
So
did it? Oh, it did it didn't in the morning, but did in the afternoon.
Correct.
Or vice versa?
It was a little bit split that way.
Okay. So just something to consider as the Pro Tour moves over to there. Last year we had that crazy finish with Paige Pierce and Sarah Hokum, where Paige hunted down, caught Sarah Hokum, and then seemingly was not going to close it out on the second to last hole. But then Paige has this pretty heroic attempt and goes and gets it done during the final hole. And it'll be interesting to see if we have those kind of fireworks this year down there. And then there's Big Germ.
Big Germ had
Did he do it again?
No.
Wow.
I just don't think.
Ouch, Big Germ.
It's hard. I'm not saying he's not going to do well. I think he will do well. But it's so hard to go back to back, and he did that. And then I can't imagine going back to back to back, and now having additional top players show up. We have more
that are more dialed in.
We have more of the field here at Waco than
Kevin Jones coming at you.
Kevin Jones, Paul McBeth.
Oh yeah. Simon will probably play all the rounds.
Simon might make it there this year. He won't be stuck in traffic like
hopefully.
Hopefully like last year. So ultimately, I think that it's going to be. I'm going to go on a very short limb and say Coling won't repeat, but
hot take.
Not really, because I think Kelvin Heimberg will be there this year as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're looking at all these players that are just Zach Melton that are so good. It's just going to be so difficult for him. So the smart money is to not bet on him winning.
I wish you'd get him on the show so you could tell him that.
I would tell him, Jeremy Coling, I love you, but you're nuts if anyone says that you should be the favorite for this event.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. The smart money is against him because the odds are there. I hope he does go back to back to back because I can't think of another major event where we've ever had a Pro Tour or an NT. I mean, we've seen Paul do it at the wintertime. He had, a billion-time winner, but can't think of an event
that someone has outright dominated.
Dominated
except
like
for
that.
the McMemorial for a few years.
Yeah, Paul McBeth in the Memorial, but I don't think he.
Not since being an NT, or I'm sorry, not since being
a Pro Tour. But even when it was an NT, I think at most he won back to back. I don't think he ever went 3 in a row. I think he went I think he lost one in between and then won. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think he lost one in between on that. So,
well, you're looking at an Eagle and a Simon who obviously have to be up there, where you give the nod to being favorites coming off the early start that they've had.
And this is a different. I mean, we talked to Eagle last week, and we said, and I flat out asked him. I said, "There's a reputation he has for not performing as well at the wooded courses. Waco is 75% wooded course, 25% open course. So to have those guys come out and shoot well will be a good sign for them for the rest of the year, I think, to kind of maybe wash off some of the naysayers that say, they're more open players. They're not so much those wooded course players. It's going to be difficult. You said, what is the weather supposed to be like for them this week?
Well, I've looked it up, and thanks to weather.com, an unofficial sponsor here of SmashBoxxTV, Thursday, sunny, 66 degrees, 16 mile per hour winds. Friday, high of 57 degrees with a low of 38, 17 mile an hour winds. And Saturday, sunny and 56 with 10 mile per hour winds. So it does not show rain in the forecast. It shows tonight thunderstorms and windy, 90% chance. Wednesday, AM thunderstorms with 100% chance. And then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, it looks like everything is going to push out in terms of precipitation, a big word of the night, and getting a little chillier, 66 to 57 to 56. So, it's not going to be hot in Texas, and we'll have to see how that ultimately plays out, if at all, if it matters. It's going to be a little chilly for the women going off at I'm guessing 8 or 9 Central at latest. I bet you it's still going to be mid to low 40s at that point. So
I just made the joke with Darren LeMay, Dad's drunk. He's saying how many people have won back-to-back events like that. And he says 2. And I made the joke like, all right, well, don't go writing an article, Ultra World article about it. And he said one's dropping tomorrow.
Oh, my gosh.
Just about that particular thing. So,
Darren.
Ultimately, yes, go ahead.
On top of it.
Go check out Darren's stuff on Ultra World tomorrow, and we'll get a general idea of that.
There's Hodel Hands is telling us no Melton. I saw Melton's been touring around. I thought I saw him up with Kevin Gleason, and Kevin's not exactly in the Texas neighborhood. So there's probably something I wasn't paying attention to, but we shall see how. That's interesting that Melton's not going to be there, but I can't sit and lament over every person who will or won't be there just yet. We're going to have most of our top pros. And it's going to be a little bit of fireworks. It's
going to be really weird having neither of us involved in one of these events. I honestly, it's strange because normally if I'm not involved somehow in a major event like a NT, I'll call you and talk to you because you're there. The Pro Tour, we've been involved because we've been behind the scenes. So I'm going to be a little itchy on this weekend, just kind of thinking about it. And
I might watch post-production coverage.
You should watch some live production
I'm just kidding,
coverage.
I won't.
No, I know that's what I'm saying. I know you're not going to watch any post-production. You'll tune in for some live.
I will probably tune in for some live.
That chat board needs your smart aleck remarks. I mean, come on.
I'm just there to provide insight. I'm just here so I don't get fined. I think as someone famously once said. And someone on the board, Jimbo, is saying James Conrad needs to show up. If there's a course and a time and a place you expect the wooded, really accurate long thrower, James Conrad has to be in that conversation. So if there's a time for him to put his stamp back on, hey, I'm here and I'm ready to play here in 2019, this is a great opportunity to do just that. So and I'm going to reminisce for just a moment, thanks to our friends at UDisc, who I believe also released an article talking about the most wished courses around the world.
Courses you wish you could play?
Yeah, exactly. People mark that in your app, and then they ran some stats and numbers and talked about those. I didn't get a chance to read the entire article, but that's the gist of it as to which courses are most wished for people to play. But I think about it was 2 years ago now? I'm already losing track of all my years. Was it 2 years ago when the Nico arrows were officially created? And what that meant was on UDisc, I think it was 2 years ago now, Nico had missed the first few holes, of the tournament, and then he showed up and then continued to, and then he played well. I think he opened with like 6 or 8 straight birdies or something. When all of a sudden
kind of ridiculous.
He got out of the car. He missed 3 or 4 holes, showed up, and then just started birdieing everything. I know it's all out there and available, but it was at that event, or because of that reason, UDisc somehow arrived at the idea of, hey, let's see how far up or down people are gaining or losing positions. And those were unofficially then deemed, or maybe still officially deemed, the Nico arrows. So I don't know if Matt or Josh are on the board and can make a clarification, but that's how my memory serves me. And it was all because Nico missed the first few holes, and then just you watch him just climb up that leaderboard.
The Nico arrows.
Yeah, so very cool. UDisc just continues to do great things, as we all know. And I'll probably be following along a little bit on there as well this weekend for anything that you're not seeing on the live feed. And speaking of UDisc, I think of UDisc and also the PDGA and their support. Quick shout out to the PDGA. It was today that out of nowhere I received a package from them, and it was a support package, and I think it came in part as being the Wisconsin State Coordinator. And I'm sure it's rightfully due to say thank you to MVP as part of that. I don't know if they provided the disc for free or at a huge discount to the PDGA, but there was a disc in there, I think, and a mini, and then a shirt. So just a quick shout out and thanks to the PDGA, and a little bonus for being a volunteer state coordinator here in Wisconsin. So I appreciate that. Got anything else there, Johnny?
I really don't. I was looking at the PDGA news. Looks like the 2018 PDGA Europe Players of the Year were announced.
Kristen Tatar being one of them.
And Seppo. So both of them flying away with honors, it says.
Yes. So
and for those of you that want to see the 2018 Pro Worlds feature-length production, it's available
on SmashBoxxTV.
No.
Oh.
I mean, the good version, the live version, is out there.
Don't say that. The live version is, of course, archived, but as Johnny's talking about,
the post-production one that they did has these really cool player interviews and this insight, and then some footage from the rounds. Yes, that is available out there. It's a feature-length production. It is available on the PDGA's YouTube page. Go out and check it out. It is pretty cool.
Those are available, and a little bit. I'm going to backtrack momentarily. Kristen, who had won the award, also, I think, suffered a loss in her immediate family. So big hug to her, and our thoughts are with her. She's been, having some incredible highs and some great successes, including, of course, that award. And then, like I said, I think she had made a post on Facebook describing the loss, I believe, of her mother. And so, from all of us at Smashbox, and as a guy who's covered a number of her tournament rounds and love watching her, and very infectious smile, her and Silver out on the tour. Big hug to her and, of course, the entire family. So, and thinking of other videos that released, we talked a little bit about Foundation. I think we also saw just released maybe today or yesterday an AJ step putt celebration or putting celebration video. Those guys having a little bit of fun over there at the Memorial, so that's available on Dynamic Disc.
I saw that it was available. I have not had a chance to actually go and watch it yet.
I'm going to spoil it slightly and say Robert McCall may be the putting champion in that video, or he may not be. You're going to have to wait. You're going to have to watch it.
Does Robert dance? He says
not the way I'd like him to.
Whoa. He says he never dances. I found that out like a couple weeks ago in It's Golf Answer Man. He never...
You don't want to mess up your hair.
Never dances. He said he's danced like once at his wedding.
Wow.
And that's it.
Robert.
And I said at GBO...
That's disheartening.
It is. At GBO,
that's so sad.
We should get him out on the dance floor.
Oh my gosh,
like
Robert.
He's a small guy. I could easily pick him up.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think there may be an opportunity for Johnny, Robert, Terry, all on the dance floor, maybe in that order. We'll see how things go down at GBO. That week gets a little crazy from time to time. I'll talk a little bit in the after show. Make a quick plug. Skyline Classic is up and available. B tier that myself and Tom McManus will be hosting in April, and it's on the Wisconsin tour. I think like 30-some people registered in the first few hours. We have a little bit larger capacity being a one-day event, but still Great to see. We'll talk about some of that, some more of those details in the after show. I think we can close things out here, Johnny, for the regular show. I think we had a lot of great information here tonight. I want to thank, of course, our opening guests, Dustin and Hannah, who announced the 6 winners from the Eagles Wings Junior Grant Program. Thank you to all the sponsors and supporters that had any part of making those dreams and those grants a reality, as they listed them off earlier. Hopefully, if you didn't get selected, keep doing what you're doing. You're probably doing good things, and reapply for the next time that it comes around. Yeah, congratulations to all of them. Thank you to Dana for giving us some insight and some tournament results from around the country. And, of course, thank you to Zach, along with Paul McBeth and Hunter from afar of Foundation Disc Golf for all those insights. And Disc Golf Nerd for the CD2 review, the Dynamite version.
Great job. I wasn't sure if you were going to remember that one.
I'm on it, Johnny.
You got it.
I got a brain up here. Sometimes I do things well.
I know, you look like you have a brain up there.
I know.
Wearing glasses and... Wow.
We got it. All right, for Johnny V, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, we'll talk about plenty of non-disc golf action in the after show. We appreciate and love all you guys. We love our Patreon supporters even more. We'll do a drawing for you guys in the after show. We love you. We'll see you next time in the after show. You step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the Smashbox TV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashboxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's episode 238, After Show.
It's Johnny V and the Professor, Terry Miller, sporting some glasses.
I'm actually Eddie Murphy, like the Nutty Professor. No?
I don't think so.
Wouldn't that be funny if it really was?
No.
You wouldn't want Eddie Murphy here?
Oh, no, I would love Eddie Murphy here over you.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
That would be great.
We get a lot of views.
Maybe. I mean, if we can't get Jack A, I'm not sure.
Hey.
Are you saying she is is she on par with Eddie Murphy? No.
Oh, no. Eddie Murphy is well above that.
I know. I'm just kidding. All right. Eddie Murphy, you have a standing
open invite.
Yeah. Just a standing invitation. Anytime you want to join us, we would love to talk to you.
So
I don't know what I'd talk to him about.
Anything. Shrek.
Nutty Professor?
Sure.
Beverly Hills Cop?
Yeah. Trading Places?
Yeah.
I'd love Trading Places. That's a great movie.
What was it? Eddie Murphy Raw? That was his
that was his big stand-up comedian thing. That's where he's wearing basically the
all
red.
Black.
No, red.
Was it okay. Yeah, maybe. Okay.
Fairly certain it was an all red outfit.
We'll go with that. Yeah, that was a little before our time, actually. Wasn't that weren't we like little kids when that probably came out?
I would be surprised if we were even born.
Really?
It might have been.
That was early.
It might have been in the early.
It had to be.
It might have been in the early 80s. All right.
All right. Here we are. Yeah. The internet will tell us. 1987.
Oh, that really?
Yeah.
I thought it was the early 80s, but okay.
I was gonna say early, but yeah, 1987, 80s, and it looks like that outfit. I believe.
No. Yeah, you're right.
Is it all black?
It is. Maybe I'm thinking of
Michael Jackson. You're definitely thinking of Michael Jackson.
No, maybe it was Richard
peace,
Pryor.
Michael.
Who was the comedian that wore the all red outfit?
I'm sure one of our great smashies out there will know. Gosh, I'm glad I was right on those accounts. Okay.
Oh no. Okay, Eddie Murphy. Maybe I'm thinking the wrong one. Because
just another stand-up that he did.
It was another stand-up. Probably
special.
probably one of his original ones. As you know, we can see here, Eddie Murphy looking at the all red outfit. So good. I don't I don't feel bad about that then. At least I had the correct comedian
wrong
wearing-
special.
Wrong special. Yeah, maybe this was the one that was from the late 70s, early 80s then.
All right, guys. Well, as always, in the after show, we've got some disc golf. We got some non-disc golf. There'll probably be plenty of that tonight.
Yeah.
We can quickly recap some of the adventures that Johnny V and I found ourselves this weekend.
And one of the things I want to talk about real quick about, speaking of after show, the first of the Patreon giveaways for our $10 level, the t-shirt. I'm starting to collect sizes for our people, and it's going to be the after show shirt, and it's going to be strictly for our Patreon supporters. This one will not be for sale for anybody that it was not a $10 patron for the last couple months. So that I'm getting that, and that should go out hopefully at towards the end of this month. So I already have about 3/4 of the people's sizes. I'm going to send those on to Miles with your address, and we're going to get that out to you. So it says after show, and then it says Patreon exclusive. So this one will not be one of the ones that we order extras of and have for sale. So I want to thank everybody who was a Patreon supporter, who will be a Patreon supporter, and who is currently a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. If you would like to be a Patreon supporter, please go out to that website, the patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. Sign up for as little as $1 a month, $0.25 a week. You can help us.
For just $0.25 a week?
Just $0.25 a week, Terry. And speaking of Patreon, Terry and I, as he was kind of getting to, we signed up to go to a Patreon party.
Ain't no party like a Patreon party.
Yeah. But actually, I myself looked at the days a little bit wrong after I signed up, and it didn't start until this Monday, because this past weekend, Terry and I were in Austin, Texas for South by Southwest. So we were down there during South by Southwest, not specifically for it. There's a comedy show that actually, it's not on right now. I just checked. They did replay their comedy show from this past weekend on this Tuesday night. It's called Night Attack, and they have a show on exactly the same time we do, Tuesdays at 9:00. And it's a show that I wanted to go see live, and so I volunteered a little bit of Smashbox help to do some of the live streaming. So if some of you may have seen that come out, there was a couple of musical bands that did their stuff, 2 different podcasts, one known as Hey Scoops or Ice Cream Social, and Night Attack, as well as something called The Modern Rogue did a small little bit. So we got to go down there, help out with the live stream, and then just in general hang out and drink and meet and talk with these guys who are very entrepreneurial with a lot of their business ventures. And it was for me, it was a really, really cool experience. And then we got to cruise around Austin on some Lime scooters for a bit. We got to go to the top of the Austonian and see all of Austin from the top of the current tallest building in Austin.
Yeah, big shout out. Not only did we run into Wander & Co., which is an amazing company that also was the original,
I think our very first sponsor.
Who had worked with giving me these headphones, making a sponsorship of those. And although they don't still work with this particular company, Wander & Company or Wander & Co., if you find them on Facebook and on Instagram, the very special thing that Drew Griswold does, that he's a disc golfer, but he started the company with the idea of that everything that they sell has an additional purpose or beneficiary where they support outside organizations that like for a while when they were working with at least this company and these headphones. The story for those who are newer to our podcast. Every time a pair of these headphones were purchased, they bought a hearing aid, I believe, for someone in Africa or some particular
I believe
location.
It was that.
And so everything that they do, they have a social cause attached to it, whether it's 10 or 20 or 40 or whatever percentage of either profits or whatever it might be. They're always benefiting, and they're teaming up with other organizations to then give a portion of proceeds and sales to. And they're continuing to do it. They're traveling around the country, him and now his fiance. So just a really great company, disc golfer and ultimate background, and now he's touring around the country. So we got to see him and reunite with him and his fiance in Austin.
And that's Wander, WANDER, and Co. CO. So Wander and Co.
Got to see him as he was down there for a conference or an exhibit of sorts for the weekend as he's traveling across country. And then also another good, super good Wisconsinite who had transported or transplanted is a better word, I suppose. Not sure what
if he transported,
he's got powers.
He's got some powers.
We saw Casey, Casey Connors, who is an up and coming player in Wisconsin, has now transitioned into being also a pro player. But he was in Wisconsin for many years, then went down to Austin, and as Johnny had mentioned, pulled a string or two and got us to the single highest point in all of Austin where somebody could take in the view. And you'll see an Instagram post from me tomorrow to show you guys just that. It was absolutely astonishing and breathtaking. So very, very cool to see. So thank you, Casey. Great seeing Drew and his fiance, Jenny, if I recall. Great going across the country and then coming to meet up with a couple of disc golfers who kind of just happened to already be there in the scene. It was a lot of fun.
Eddie Murphy Delirious.
There you go.
Was it 1983? So for those of you that were yelling at your podcast application at us idiots,
they were.
Especially all of you slightly older like us people.
So as Darren's asking, did we go to South by Southwest? Well, so these
we walked around.
Yeah, and the podcast that Johnny had referenced and the show that was put on is, I think it's fair to say, it's almost a little bit of a precursor to South by Southwest. South by Southwest technically wasn't in like full swing.
It was
in some ways.
The technology portion started that Saturday morning, or technically, I guess that Friday, when they started opening up exhibits and stuff. So they always do the South. They call it South by So Wasted. Is their little? It's almost like an off Broadway. This is an off South by establishment. So they have this wonderful, fun environment, and it's right in that very first day kind of South by. But we did walk around the main South by Southwest area a little bit and saw some of the really crazy establishments that they have. I mean, just in general, all the food trucks and stuff, and like thousands of these motorized scooters. But the fact that these major tech companies will just buy or rent out these houses and design them. We walked by the Blizzard Activision Fun House, the CNN house, there was an Amazon Prime. There was something from the ACLU for their 100th anniversary. It was quite honestly amazing. We saw everything and anything that was flat was saran wrapped so that people couldn't stick stickers on them, because it's a very popular thing to get is stickers at South by. So we had originally seen something and we were looking at like, why is that all covered in saran wrap? What a weird way to graffiti. And it turns out it was more anti-graffiti than anything else.
Yeah. Interesting way of going about it, a lot of the city. And if you had, I know I kind of talked a little bit about like the Lime scooters that we saw at the Memorial. Well, that was amplified, at least probably 5, maybe 10-fold in Austin, and having all these power scooters or motorized scooters around, or bikes and scooters that people could find in Austin. Just a lot of fun to get on those. They may not be, in the long run, they may not be fully economical. However, they are every bit of fun that you could ask for, even if it is for short term.
I'm very disappointed that we don't have them here in Milwaukee. The more I think about it, the more I like today. And as I do every couple weeks, I go to get my haircut at lunch, and I usually take an Uber because the place I go is all of about 15 blocks to 20 blocks from my office. And it's just far enough where I can't walk there in an hour and back and get my haircut. So I usually take an Uber and go and come back. But a scooter would be perfect. And I understand the logistics of helmets and motorized vehicles and the restrictions, and I understand all of that. But the more I think about it, the more I
just
think,
get your own. Buy your own.
I could.
Yeah. Well, I know you're a baller.
No,
just do it.
Not that way.
I know you could.
You could do that. But more so, I would love to see. This is political, I guess. I'd love to see our cities developed more for different types of transportation than focusing around automobiles all the time, especially denser cities like this. I understand rural areas, that's not realistic, but places, larger cities like Madison, Milwaukee, Chicago, I think it makes much more sense to have individualized or smaller different modes of transportation. Like the bikes are great, the bike share things. So anyway, I just thought it was
I think
really
of the
cool.
population, and I think of the climates, and then just the density of people, and I see how they make sense in the Scottsdale area, and I see how they make sense definitely in the Austin area. I don't know that there's enough downtown recreational need in downtown Milwaukee.
They were very popular when they were down there. They were down there for last summer until they were basically kicked out.
Yeah.
And they were very popular, and I think they could be popular. Going on to something, ask Bobby, Uncle Bobby Jr., Bobby Brown, Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, was asking about tacos. We ended up... Kind of, yes. We didn't actually go to I wanted to go to a Torchy's Tacos, because all I ever hear is you guys talk about that. But we didn't get a chance to actually go, just based on how busy we were. We did get to go to Amy's Ice Cream, which I heard is a very popular place, and I'm gonna say that I wasn't crazy overly impressed with it. It was good ice cream, but the the employees were way more interesting than the ice cream, I thought. But the next morning, that Sunday morning, we went to like a small VIP event for the podcast that we were helping stream, and they brought in breakfast tacos from Torchy's. And then I don't know if our lunches was from Torchy's or not. I couldn't catch that. It was more of a layout and build your own style. But the morning ones were definitely Torchy's tacos. They were Torchy's breakfast tacos. So ultimately, we didn't get a chance to go to Torchy's. We will at some point.
To wrap that up, to talk about Torchy's tacos, as the breakfast burritos or tacos that we had in the morning were definitely good.
Yeah.
They were...
I had 3 of them.
No better than some of the other homemade ones I've had. I'm trying to remember what event I've had. I know I've had some at the Maple Hill events. There's another event that has commonly had them, and I'll just say they were really good, but they didn't knock my socks off.
No, I think
I
think going to there and getting some fresh ones, and that I think that would have helped out. Maybe not necessarily a breakfast taco, because obviously what we had was it was a good, nice, soft, thick shell, but it had eggs and bacon and cheese, obviously, and something else in there. So it's just a hair above a breakfast burrito that I make here. So
yeah. So,
but ultimately,
we got to take in a little bit of that Austin and Texas flavor, though, between Torchy's Tacos and Amy's Ice Cream. I think we got the full shebang. Now, what we also got to take in, because it was so luxurious and glamorous, was the heart of Texas.
Oh, the heart of Texas. Some may ask,
and this is the last time I let Johnny V
deep in the heart of Texas. And so ultimately so this is kind of funny, and I'm not blaming you by any means. I've been asking you for a good 2 weeks about whether or not you were coming.
Mm-hmm.
And you were fairly certain you were going to come with me,
mm-hmm.
but didn't quite finalize anything until very late in the procedures.
Sure. Go on.
And so by the time I did end up looking for hotels, there weren't a lot left. And being South by, anything that was close to downtown was out of our price range. You're talking anywhere from $300 to $400 a night for a downtown, up to and including $1,200 to $1,600 a night. So I started looking outside of the city of Austin, and one of the places I found that happened to be one of the cheaper places, most certainly, was a place called the Heart of Texas. And we pull up, and they've got a gorgeous pool. Okay, they've got a pool.
I've seen better looking puddles.
No, that pool was all right. That was a nice pool.
Sure.
But neither of us took it in. Driving up to it was very, very underwhelming.
I think suspect would be a good
suspect
word.
would be a good word. Possible murder site might be another word. We check in. Terry and I are joking about how I think we asked the question as we were walking in, over under on there being a tube TV in, and you said that you thought it would be a tube and it would be bolted to the
to the top of the desk.
But we went in, to our hotel, and it was actually nice. It looked like it had been redone maybe 5 years ago. Hardwood floor, nice headboards, nice bedspread. Everything inside that room was very nice.
Except for the permanent stains on my bed sheets that were there before I first laid my
There
head
was
in
a
there.
tiny little red
There were
speck.
3 or 4.
And here's what I'll say about that. Those bed sheets are not the same bed sheets that are there I bet those bed sheets bounce around between different rooms after they're washed. There's no way they put those same bed sheets in the same rooms.
I'm failing to realize how that makes it any better.
I'm just saying about the room itself. About the room itself.
Okay.
Like the sheets, that's whatever.
So those stains came from someone else on another bed a previous stay. Okay, what's your point?
Could be. They were dry. There's no problem. They were kind of off a little bit. I mean, they were, and the shower was horrible. It was
one of the worst.
One of the worst showers we have ever experienced. Not together, thankfully. It was. It barely dribbled on you. I made the joke that I think I would have gotten a better shower out of a refrigerator water dispenser, the front ones.
Easily.
That
Those
would
all have more pressure.
That had more pressure than our
and
shower.
Consistent strain.
I had to squat down, and I held my hand over the faucet in order to provide more pressure, just to get some decent pressure. So I basically kind of was squatting down while taking a shower, and I felt like a caveman because I'm just trying to get more water pressure.
Cavemen had better plumbing than that.
Cavemen did have. I've seen the Flintstones. They had had an elephant that would have been better.
Definitely with more pressure.
But ultimately, it wasn't a bad place. It was nice and safe, and we didn't die, and we're here today.
Yes.
And it was cheap.
To be fair, I have somehow stayed at
worse.
Much worse.
Oh yes, I've stayed at worse.
I have stayed
places.
at worse, but I would
Usually
not give it a glowing
book.
review. But I want to backtrack for just a moment. Me committing relatively late to traveling along with you, how again did that impact your reservation process?
I didn't know where I was going to stay, honestly.
So whether I was with or without you, I still don't understand how the reservation process was impacted.
Had you not stayed with me, I might have reached out to Jason Youngblood and stayed with him, because he said he had room on like a futon.
Okay.
And so I just waited to get your confirmation to make sure you were going before I booked an actual hotel for us to stay, because I could have possibly couch surfed with somebody. Or honestly, I might have Ubered in and out of someplace else, or because we didn't even rent a car until we got there.
Yeah, and
we got a great deal on that too.
Yes,
thanks to you.
All right. So that was a little bit of Austin, Texas, taking it all in. Of course, there was some madness and chaos, most of which we weren't part of. I think that is going to continue to roll on throughout this entire week, and good for them. And it would be something I'd love to take in a little bit more thoroughly on another time. But for what we were down there for, I think the real big takeaway that kind of got lost within this whole story was, it was really cool that for a podcast that Johnny follows very closely, very intensely.
I'm a big fan.
He's a big fan boy. But to go there and to be in a stage hall bar type setting that has performances, to then take all the skill sets, mainly on Johnny V's part, to take all those skill sets and some of our equipment, and to be able to put up a live stream to their entire community, which was then mainly featured there on Twitch, to their Twitch community. Of course, there's a lot of crossover, there's a lot of similarities, but yet there's also a really good feeling of taking our skill sets and expanding beyond just the sport of disc golf.
Yeah.
And to be fair, as we've already talked about, whether it was, dare I say, even easier than Ultimate would be, or easier than soccer or we literally didn't have to move a camera.
That is the one thing I was a little disappointed with, in that we didn't this was a very casual, they didn't, we volunteered our services to expand our resume, and it was part of an experience for me more so than anything else. But I wish I would have had just a little more time and a little more prep to set up an additional camera angle, or actually maybe work a camera a little more than what we did. But I was more interested in getting it set up, getting it working, and enjoying the experience than actually producing a show. So we did hook right into the soundboard and bounced back and forth between that. So
yeah, so that was great, and just the experience of having this stream, being able to put it up for an entirely different community, like Johnny said, expanding our horizons a little bit, realizing that there were some really significant built-in advantages. The fact that we had power right there at our fingertips, the fact that internet could be right there at our fingertips, the fact that the camera didn't have to move and it was essentially stationary for the entire broadcast. It really it excites me to think that there are or could be other avenues and components to things that we could effectively go live stream and do that are outside of the sport of disc golf. And I kind of made a joke about, oh, we're going to be, next cover a PTA meeting or a spelling bee. But in all seriousness, Smashbox doesn't have a disc golf specific name intentionally, with the idea that there's other things we could cover. And I've always said it would be great to get hired, I think, to film like a high school or a college graduation. And you may think, oh, that's really boring, or why would you do that? Well, I think if a PTA or some kind of group got together and said, hey, we'd like to fund that, just think about all the travel that goes along with, Nana, who can't or isn't feeling well, and all the family members that would love to be at that kind of experience. And really, you mainly care about the one person walking across the stage, but that amplified by hundreds or thousands of people. I think broadcasting something like that, albeit maybe not exciting for anyone that's not directly involved with it, I think those are all opportunities that could be on the table, and those opportunities excite me, those types of things. And a spelling bee. I think I'd love to broadcast a spelling bee. Not that I'm a good speller by any means or an exceptional one. I just think it would be really fun to say we broadcast a mid to regional level spelling bee. Okay. It needs to be on our resume, damn it.
We can work on that. We can work on that just
so if you need to hire us to come film your spelling bee,
please.
I mean, we could do basketball game. I mean, we could do anything. You guys know this. We'd love to do it. We should cover marbles. There is a gentleman, and I apologize, I forget his name. I'm not going to use the word spam, but he definitely sends me a lot of messages with his live marble races. And he keeps sending them to me. He does. I'm not going to go look for it right now. Yes, he has a very, very, very elaborate marble race system.
Like he races two marbles against
each other?
Not
two, like dozens or hundreds, and then I think maybe it somehow dwindles down.
Oh,
I'm sure some of you out there know what I'm talking about. And I know he has sent me many messages on Facebook to let me know that these happen. And I haven't quite placed the exact tie. He doesn't want us to come film them, but he keeps doing them. And yeah, they're out there. They're available. He must have some disc golf tie as well. So
yeah, I was actually going back to Austin a little bit. It was kind of cool. On that Sunday, we went to like a little VIP event where we toured around this gentleman by the name of Brian Brushwood, who is a magician and podcaster, and just in general entrepreneur. He showed us this new land that he bought that had all this cool history to it. So we walked around the 7 acres, and then we went to a place called Wizarding Academy, which it has nothing to do with like Harry Potter. It is a place where they do business classes, and part of their whole shtick is bringing people. If you, rather than go to like a conference and sit in a hotel for like 2 days where it's bland or whatever, you can come on site and bring your spouse. Check out Austin. Everything is on site. They cater the food. There's a distillery on site for if you're really into whiskey. There's something called the Whiskey Vault, or they have another website. Anyway, you can look up Whiskey Vault on
Fair and Feather.
Fair and Feather is the name of the place, but the actual website they're at is the Whiskey Vault, and that's on YouTube. And they do a lot of their YouTube stuff from there. They built a huge Patreon support as well, and we got to go check out that place, which was kind of cool. They have a free weddings on this site, and there was a wedding going on actually, which we had to turn off some of the speakers for this little private event that they were doing. It was, in general, I thought that was one of the coolest parts, getting to talk to all these guys that have built up careers. There's a podcast called Penn Sunday School where one of the guys is a co-host, as well as this. So he talks to Penn from Penn and Teller. He's on a podcast with him. So getting to sit and just communicate and kind of learn a little bit was really, really exciting.
And some great suggestions have come in from the board. I knew we'd get some, not only marble races, but live wedding streams. Absolutely, we could get on board with that. That's a no-brainer, I think. Marble Olympics, robot fighting, croquet. Sure, we could cover that, Adam. Cup stacking, Dion. You're trying to be funny, but I know a thing or two about cup stacking actually, from attending a few of the national FIED shows throughout the years. Boxcar derbies, as said. And there was one other one that was just suggested. So, yeah, a lot of great ideas for us to go film things. So if somebody has a budget, can bring one or both, or maybe they need hosts that know what they're talking about. Maybe they don't. Gladly, we could just set people up. I think there's a lot of things that could be broadcast live with a little more professional feel and flair to it than, just what people are doing with exclusively just using like Facebook Live. Obviously, we could be a solution for some of those things as well. So cover live reactions to the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Christian has an idea. Darren says, how hard is it to film a wedding? What's a good base camera to look into? My wife is a photographer and does about 10 to 20 weddings a year. They always want a videographer. I told her I can figure it out.
I think, honestly, weddings are the scariest thing to do. Because you
don't want to F up somebody's...
You get one shot, and you don't want to screw it up.
Yeah.
So you want to probably, if you're going to be a videographer at a wedding, you probably want to have at least 3 cameras set up. Probably one up in traditional wedding. We'll probably have a balcony. One up there to get the full bride and groom shot. One close by the bride, one close by the groom to get each of their faces. Maybe even a 4th one coming down from the thing so you can get the whoever's doing the ceremony. And then microphones, so you definitely don't want to miss what they're saying. So you might need to mic up probably the groom more so than the bride. That would scare me. That honestly would scare me because I would think
a lot of pressure.
You're paying for this, and this is the hopefully one shot you get. That frightens me more than a soccer game or a boxing match or a football game. Like, great, you're gonna have 16 more of these games this year, kid. Yeah, a wedding. I would love to try it. I don't know if I would charge for the first wedding I did. It would be a lot. That'd be a lot of. That would be scary.
Yeah. Now, if you're going full out professional, endeavor, 3-4 cameras, whatever. But I mean, if you're just looking for a camera, I would say, Darren, the top concern is just have something that has. Anytime you really want to do a good job, you want to make sure that you have some kind of external microphone input, possibly XLRs, possibly a mini plug-in, whatever the case might be. And then you have to really determine, what are you trying to capture? Is it a generic wide shot that's got everything? And then maybe you hook up a $200 wireless microphone too. Are you trying to maneuver all around to get a bunch of different angles? Are you concerned about just getting the actual, every word from start to finish in kind of one long clip, and that's the main concern? I think all those things have to be considered when you're looking at a wedding and what their individual needs are. But yes, I agree. Being if you're solely there as a video person, same with even the photos. That is definitely a scary.
But even photos, usually. You could
miss a moment.
You could miss a moment, and are they going to remember?
They may not know.
They might not notice that. I mean, as long as you get your key shots,
sure.
You get the rings, you get the a couple up on the altar or whatever shots. You get all those. Okay, whatever. But yeah. Ooh.
All right, I'm going to read from the board. Johnny's getting our Patreon people ready. As always, in the after show, we very much encourage you to interact with us on the YouTube chat board. Always the same people, and we love you guys. We love you so much, but we'd love to even hear from new people. So if you haven't chatted at us ever, please do so. Whether it's to ask a question or make a statement, I'd love to read it. So here we go. Jomez did a wedding a few years ago, and it looked incredible. No surprise there. Another resource, aside from all the great internet, instructors or tutorials that are out there, there's dozens. There's a few that I like to watch. there's just a endless supply of them. But Jimmy Conover, who's filmed some stuff out of Arizona, he's an amazing individual. He did some work with Joe Mez last year. He's done some freelance work on his own. He's worked with us at Smashbox. He knows. He did a wedding video, and then he also did that wedding video blog behind the scenes. So he kind of gave you the insight as to what he did and some of the things that he did. I could never be a 10th or 100th as good as what Jimmy Conover does. He's amazing, and I wish we could see him more in the disc golf community. Unfortunately, I don't think the disc golf community can afford him because he does such incredible work. JT O'Brien says, staring Terry and Johnny in several costumes doing the For Me commercial. Yeah, someone had said maybe there should be a new PDGA. The PDGA has a new commercial.
They do have a 15-second.
A little 15-second blurb. I think it's done really well. Bonus points to anyone out there right now. It's just for a high five and a bigger, tighter hug next time I see you. Who is narrating in that commercial? You know, right? Yeah. Who is narrating in that commercial? Big Putt Bill Sherman is taking a break from the local neighborhood bar with his wife to join us tonight. Big Putt Bill. Hope you're doing well. We love you, buddy. That sounds worse than it really should. I just know they've been frequenting a local place. But I'd like to know, do you know who is narrating in the PDGA video? Go with the popular disc sport live coverage of Ultimate. Yeah, if we could, I mean, Ultimate obviously has some people covering it. I think we could get connected with the right resources, and maybe someday that could happen. And there may be future updates about the idea of covering a little Guts World Championships live.
I did reach out to them. They did not get back to me yet. So they reached out to us. I reached out right away. No one responded. And then finally someone responded to me and said, oh, you need to talk to this guy. So I said, cool, let me get hold of this guy. Responded back, and I've yet to hear back. So
all right, so we'll keep you abreast of the situation. Yeah, money in Ultimate, and y'all have Discraft ties who rule Ultimate. That is true, TJ. TJ, I believe you had recently became a Patreon supporter of Smashbox and of my post-production channel, The Disc Golf Guy. So here's a special shout-out. We love you, buddy. Thank you. Should a camera guy played at least one round of disc golf to be able to film it? I'm going to say yes. Even if you're bad.
I don't necessarily think you need to have played.
I think it would help.
Oh, I agree. I think it would help.
I totally think it would help. Ultimate seems like football to cover big setup. No. I mean, the thing with Ultimate
3 cameras.
Yeah, 2, 3, 4 cameras,
cameras,
whatever. But they're all essentially stationary, and then you just need to be able to swivel. But you know where all of there's, first of all, one disc, and it's always going to be in a certain relatively confined area. You're never going to have a Simon line. You're going to have people with, that throw it higher and lower and forehands and backhands, but there's basically one field of play in the airspace above it. I'm just going to say it would be, I don't think I'm being too boastful when I say it would be 10 times easier to cover than
Charlie
disc golf.
Charlie Eisenhood from Ultra World talks about that it is much easier to cover Ultimate than it is disc golf. But
and some guys are saying they would tune in, guys and girls.
Well, thank you.
Is there a realistic chance of him getting on the show? Adam, possibly. Adam said also earlier that Adam's familiar with Bangers, where we were on Friday night, and that's where we picked up. Didn't pick up our friend.
It's a lot of
That's
fun.
where we met up with him.
This is great.
Johnny's having problems. I'll keep reading. I've been filming my nephew's soccer game, and wow, is it hard to even work with just one camera, Ronald Harkey says. My dinner with Andre-style interviews with the Fulfers. Ladies of the Chains, how you guys doing? Hope all is well in the Kansas City area. You guys are continuing to do some podcasts and good stuff, I think I just saw, which is awesome. Keep at it. Pool live, and bowling live, and darts, all easy to film. I would concur. I mean, I think
you have basically 2 cameras. You have one over the table, and then one guy wandering and following, getting different
angles. But yeah,
angles.
Oh my gosh,
you
could
have
even
2,
imagine
obviously, if you want a
how
front
easy
and
it would
back
be
angle,
to film pool.
But yeah, that would be.
Are your ears warm? Yes, they are. They are. Thanks, Big Putt Bill. Roller derby Yes, that would be awesome to film. There's so many things I would love to film, live or post, but live. And by all means, if we ever got hired to go participate in any of the options mentioned or ideas, we would show up and we'd hand all the equipment and we'd say, okay, who are your commentators? Here's your 2 people or 3 or whatever it is, and we get them all set up. If any of them ever said, hey, we'd like the dummy to play dumb, would you be that guy? I would love to do that. It would be so much fun to learn the intricacies of any given sport or activity that is also going up. Maybe, I don't know if I'd be so good in the spelling bee as a co-commentator, because I would just constantly asking, what does that mean? Definition, please, is what I would keep asking. But I think it would be a lot of fun. And I think I could be a good enough setup man to ask questions that make other people feel smart.
I think Google's broken.
No big deal. Maybe Pro Tour events right around the corner. Google, YouTube, it's all going down.
Google Sheets. What we usually do is we put everything into a Google Sheet, this and that. It's not working.
So your Google Sheets is blank right now?
I can't get into Google Sheets.
That's cleaner than the sheets I slept on in the heart of Texas.
Valid point. Mine were fine.
All right. A disc golf celebrity softball game would be cool. Yeah. So funny to think about how many of our disc golfers have probably, or maybe never will, play softball. Like, do you think Kelvin Heidenberg's played softball?
Probably.
I bet he hasn't. Get Kelvin on the line.
Played a single game
of softball.
I would say there's
I feel like softball is very much dying. I feel like it was
think so at all.
I feel like it was a little more generational. And I think the 22-ish-year-old Kelvin Heimberg hasn't played softball. Gosh, there's a hot take. Anybody want to find out that answer?
Cool. So it's not just.
All right, Levon
Internet
Bell to the
Explorer
Jets.
too.
Yes, definitely a Smashbox exclusive.
Did he really go there?
That's it. It says it on our internets.
Le'Veon Bell.
Sure, that guy. Good for him. What about that Antonio Brown guy? Don't care. All right. Also, Terry, have you been hit with a frisbee while filming? Yes. Yes. One in particular. Thankfully, it was not impactful to the play or the players. Was it just last year? I was filming at the Pro Masters Worlds in Grand Rapids. They were doing the doubles. Latitude 64, thank you for supporting it. I went out and filmed, and there was a sixsome, three groups of 2. And I don't think it was I don't know if it was first or second round. Now I forget. There was a hole that the much better shot was the catch position instead of the throw. So I was down. It dogleg to the right, and it was blind. You couldn't see the pin from the tee area. So it was only about 300 feet. And so I was down probably close to pin high, maybe 270, 280, but at least 100 feet from the basket, maybe more. And 3 or 4 gentlemen had thrown, and I just didn't put it together, and I knew my battery was dying, and I was about to swap out the battery. So I apologize. This is not this year, but the year before. I had to swap out the battery, and all I was concerned about was taking the battery off and then getting the new battery on so I didn't miss any shots. Well, I forgot that 2 more people still had to throw. I think it was best shot. And sure enough, I was looking through the camera at first, but then I was taking off the battery, and I was trying to put the new battery back in, and then next thing you know, some guys were yelling. Next thing you know, I took one to the inner thigh, and it didn't feel good. And it was a terrible shot. Still no excuse for me to get hit. It was definitely a terrible shot and not where they should have been throwing. And I shouldn't have been changing my battery out at that moment. I should have waited, of course, until the group was done. I think I mentally checked out after I saw, 3 or 4 of the throws. and then didn't realize that there was still a team that needed to throw, or a person at least that needed to throw. And so I didn't hear it, didn't see it coming, wasn't even thinking about it. And yeah, and thankfully they were playing from their partner's lie anyway. So yes, I took one there. And I think in 2015 at the Worlds in Pittsburgh, a shot was thrown, and I want to say it was by Sarah Hokum. I was a good 30, 40, 50 feet behind the basket on a very, very wooded shot out at Moraine. And she had piped everything, gotten all the way through. I don't know if it was a clean line or if it was an alternative line, but either way, she got through everything, got all the way past the basket, which you would almost never count on anyone doing on that particular hole. And as it came in, it took a weird bounce or a skip, skipped up, and then hit my monopod, and then came to rest. And it definitely would have continued 5, maybe 10 more feet. If I recall, she did not get the birdie. And I don't want to say that made me feel better, but, giving her that extra 5 or 10 feet closer to the basket, it is what it is. So, Pittsburgh? So that must have been 2014's Pro Worlds. Sarah Hokum, you're welcome.
Yep. Google Docs is reporting an outage. So
Gosh. Can we complain about some free stuff? Oh, and Katrina. Yeah, thank you, Disc Golf Nerd. Thanks for the reminder. Katrina came in. She threw a what was a blind shot for her. It was somewhat of a blind. It was also had moved down by the basket. Was that it? That was at Augusta Worlds. Thank you. Had to think about that. That was Augusta Worlds. She threw a blind shot. It came in. It skipped, and it skipped straight. It absolutely should have skipped toward the basket at that time, but it skipped straight, and then rather than continuing, it hit me. Again, I think it hit the monopod. I'd have to check the tapes. We do that still. It hit the...
It actually didn't hit the monopod. It hit...
Did it hit me?
It hit the hood almost.
Oh, that's right.
That's surrounding the lens.
It skipped way up in the air.
Because it skipped up, and it kind of clink, and yeah.
Oh, yeah, I feel bad about that.
Anyway.
Nobody ever wants to, be involved in that. So, yeah. What is that, 3? 3 that I just named?
Yep. It's
probably been more. I get everybody's way.
I saw you. Did you talk about how you got hit at Idlewild?
No.
Was it hole 18? Like barely brushed you, but it still caught you, and basically.
I don't think it hit me. That wasn't a cameraman. I wasn't a cameraman.
Oh, you weren't the cameraman. Oh, you were commentating. All right, so it caught the cameraman.
Yes.
Yeah, never mind then.
Yes, it did not.
And it actually helped out the disc just slightly from going further into the woods. Instead, it was just a bad lie and not a really bad lie. All right, so what we're going to do here is, because Google Docs is being a jerk, we are going to manually have to count some things out. So we have 214. Well, we're going to give away something.
No, I'm good with that.
We're going to give away a disc member package, as I talked about last week. So the disc member package is a $50 value that you can sign up at discmember.com and get access to a monthly box for discs. And they've got different options and things that you can go in there and select. But we're going to give one away tonight, thanks courtesy of them. We have 214 patrons. Terry, what number do we got here?
Well, since you guys were on top of it, and we can name at least 3 times I've been hit. I love how everybody's like instantly remembers every time.
Everybody knows.
And Ryan, just to clarify, you said something about me getting hit at the Memorial. I did not. I don't know which one you're talking about, but I know there was a shot at the Memorial. Something came in, and I literally just spread my legs, and the disc went right between my legs and did not hit me. There was one of those shots, and I feel like there was another close call where I did not get hit at this year's Memorial. So those two both come to mind. Oh, there was a putt on hole 14, the electrical box hole, where a disc came through. It missed, spoiler alert, it missed the basket when it came through on a putt, and then got up and rolled, but quickly, or skipped quickly. And I literally, I split my legs, and Wysocki, without skipping a beat, says, that yoga's really paying off. So I did not get hit there either.
All right, so we're going to do what? The number 3?
3 times.
All right, so
that I can recall lately that I've been hit.
42, 18 be a low number, 68. Crap.
68?
All right, 68, so I'm going to count down the 68th line here.
That looks miserable.
All right, well, you keep talking.
Do that. Okay. All right. I'm going to keep reading down the list. A lot of football talk going on. Don Jalapeno says the best was when Michael Johansson hit that squirrel. First of all, I think it was a chipmunk, and second of all, maybe it was a squirrel. I don't recall. But I think later it was discovered it did not actually hit the rodent or the animal. I feel
Jeff
like it
Hungerford,
was like another camera angle, and it actually did not hit the rodent when that other camera angle was eventually provided.
Jeff Hungerford is our Patreon winner tonight.
Congratulations, Jeff. I think I'll probably see Jeff sometime soon.
That's good. Congratulations, Jeff. So, Jeff, we will get that to you and make sure that you are all set up with that disc member box. I think Jeff won recently, a couple months ago, 2 months ago or something like that.
Yeah.
But congratulations, Jeff. We had 214 patrons. We love you all dearly. It's because of your kind and generous donations that we can continue to do this podcast week after week after week. Because of you, I'm stuck with Terry for the rest of my life.
I heard Foundation Disc Golf was giving away a bunch of stuff for us, too. I'll have to let them know.
You have to let them know.
I will be sure to let them know about that. All right, lots more football talk going on the board. I'll excuse myself from any of that. I don't know what I'm talking about. Watching the live coverage, I thought McBeth hit a dog. Turns out it just rolled through the DGPT wall. No,
it actually
didn't do that either.
Missed the dog, hit the gentleman who's holding the dog's foot, bounced up over the wall, and popped down.
Exactly. Crazy. And then the conversation then also continued into, where should the spectators be? Are they too close to a line? Should they be there? Should they not? I'm going to say it time and time again. Out there in that situation, they're standing in the out-of-bounds area. I'm okay with them being there. I mean, we're going to continue to argue about wanting more eyes, wanting more coverage, wanting more spectators. The spectators get out there. In this case, they're out of bounds. They should have their head on a swivel. I agree with that. But back them up 2 feet, 5 feet, 9 feet.
Someone's still getting hit
at
some point.
It's inevitable. An errant shot or a crazy shot like that. That's all I can say. All right. Good night, Zach Pajek. I think you had mentioned earlier that you might be at Throwdown, and I didn't see any responses. If you did say something about possibly, I may have an extra camera, so we may get more stuff, more footage from down there, and I will be putting together some support packages. All right. Sorry, David, it didn't work out. We didn't get together in Austin, but thank you for the invite. So we're going to wrap things up. We appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Great having a regular show post South by Southwasted. And if you want, Johnny, what are those podcasts people should check out that you're a fan of? I might be a fan of too.
Night Attack is the one I'm a big fan of. I just started listening to one called Ice Cream Social, and you can find that at heyscoops.com, H-E-Y, scoops.com. The other acts that were there were Dual Core, which is a nerdcore rapper.
Yeah.
The Possum Posse, which is kind of a country band, more on the humorous side. And then the Modern Rogue as well, which is a fun kind of, if you like the King of Random type YouTube pages. If you have a kid, I have a 9-year-old boy who loves the Modern Rogue because they teach you things like sword fighting and how to make a shiv. They made Pruno one day, which is beer in jail.
Homemade fire extinguisher
this weekend. It's a really cool channel.
Go check those all out. Tell them SmashBoxxTV and Johnny V sent you.
That's right.
They'll like that.
They'll shake. They're like, who?
Yeah, exactly. So for Johnny V, Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, a.k.a. the professor of disc golf tonight. Maybe not. We appreciate you guys joining us. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. We love you more than our non-Patreon supporters. We'll see you next week when you step inside the Smashbox.